Chapter 921. Feeling the gentleness from her husband's hand, Bing's white cheeks, which were previously blushing, suddenly seemed to have a hint of charm. "Let's go." He did not notice the change in ice and turned to look at the Dragon-Tiger Sect. He only wanted to settle the matter here as soon as possible so that he could get the information he wanted. That would be enough. Okay. Shadow and Shadow nodded. They followed Lin Ray and prepared to fight at any time. Halt. This is the Dragon-Tiger Sect. Hey, did you hear that? This is the Dragon-Tiger Sect. Are you trying to force your way in? At that moment, Zhou Zai, who was at the head of the Dragon-Tiger Sect's main gate, saw Lin Ray and the other two and did not take them seriously. But when he saw the three of them walking towards him, he quickly stopped them. However, the result was not ideal. Lin Ray acted as if he did not hear him. Instead, he looked indifferent as if the gatekeeper did not exist. He took large strides towards the gate. Bastard! When he saw that the three people in front of him did not take his words seriously, the gatekeeper only wanted to attack. Even though he was just a gatekeeper, in his heart, as long as he was associated with Dragon-Tiger Sect, then he would no longer be a simple gatekeeper. Whoosh! Without wasting any time, the gatekeeper attacked. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He raised the spear in his hand and thrust it towards Lin Ray. He was a divine guard. Although his cultivation was not high, he had been rolling on the edge of death for a long time. He was much better than those scions of aristocratic families because he had never experienced true death and despair. Seeing the spear coming at him like a dragon, Lin Ray was momentarily stunned. Then, he smiled disdainfully and stretched out his hand to meet the spear. He extended his sword finger and used his physical strength to lightly flick the spear. Suddenly, there was a buzzing sound. The spear trembled and instantly left its trajectory. It pierced towards the gatekeeper at an extremely rough angle. Hiss! A cry of pain came from the gatekeeper's mouth. His face turned pale, and the arm that was holding the spear seemed to have been twisted a few times. If it wasn't for the impact from before, he probably wouldn't have been able to move at all. Why? Feeling the pain coming from his arm, the gatekeeper forgot everything. He forgot about the three people in front of him, forgot that he was a gatekeeper, forgot what he was thinking. Bang! The gatekeeper's spear came into close contact with the ground. At this moment, because of the collision of the spear, the gatekeeper's arm hurt even more. Hugging his injured arm, he stared blankly ahead. His mind was in a daze. Let's go. Lin Ray smiled disdainfully as he looked at the gatekeeper. Then, he said something to his children and stepped through the gate of the Dragon-Tiger Sect. Heh, it seems that the Dragon and Tiger Sect has bitten off more than they can chew. For such a powerful person to be able to deal with the divine guards with just a flick of his finger, then, very strong, unfamiliar face, newcomer, definitely newcomer. I don't know. Just now, those three people killed Hu Liang of the Dragon-Tiger Sect with a single move on the city gate tower. They even declared that they would destroy the entire Dragon-Tiger Sect. Now that they're here, it means that they're here to annihilation. Hiss. Hearing the discussions, the surrounding crowd was stunned. They sucked in a mouthful of cold air and their faces were filled with astonishment. Although the Dragon and Tiger Sect was not one of the top forces in Rumbling Cloud City, they were still a second-rate force. After entering the Dragon and Tiger Sect, Lin Ray looked at the picturesque scenery around him. He did not expect that the Dragon and Tiger Sect would have such a side to them. As for the discussions outside, he naturally did not know. At this moment, he only wanted to use this matter to intimidate the City of Death and save himself some trouble in the future. Who are you? How dare you enter my Dragon and Tiger Sect? Don't you know that this is PFFF? Suddenly, the voice stopped abruptly. The person who had just spoken was holding his throat with both hands. Blood was gushing out from the gaps between his fingers. Humph. It was time to attack. Linley didn't want to waste any more words on this annoying fellow. As he continued to move forward, he met many people along the way. However, when they saw Lin Rei, they all said the same thing. In response, Lin Rei did not waste his breath and killed them in one move. Clean and crisp. At this moment, he felt as if he had returned to the immortal world. When he was angry, he could annihilate a sect. The pleasure of killing people could not help but surge into his heart. Damn, I did not expect that killing a few people would affect the killing intent in my body. Feeling the killing intent in his body surging, Lin Rei's body paused for a moment. He quickly used his cultivation to suppress it. Phew, feeling that the killing intent in his body had stabilized, Lin Rei suddenly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His expression returned to normal. At the side, Ying, who was observing the situation, saw her husband like this. Although she did not know why, she knew that it was related to killing people. She then said, "Husband, you don't have to do anything next. Let me do it." "You?" Lin Rei turned around to look at his wife. He hesitated in his heart. Truthfully speaking, he was unwilling. Moreover, even though the killing intent would affect him, it wasn't to the extent of making his wife do it. "Husband, there's no need to struggle. Let us sisters do it. Isn't it extremely easy for us to capture such a small amount of people?" As soon as she finished speaking, she didn't wait for Lin Rei to refute her. The two of them looked at each other and nodded, and then they took a step forward and instantly left the spot. Lin Rei was stunned when he saw his wife's actions, and then he laughed bitterly and shook his head. Actually, living off a woman isn't bad. If the Talisman Sect, Danzong Sect, Xuanzong Sect, and the others in the immortal world were to find out about this, they would probably explode into an uproar. The former dignified devil emperor of the immortal world had actually said that living off a woman wasn't bad. If his enemies were to find out about this, they would probably be angered to the point of leaping out of their coffins and dying again. Just as Lin Rei was laughing bitterly, a miserable shriek sounded from afar. When he heard the shriek, Lin Rei raised his head and looked over. "Why didn't you come quietly? Wouldn't it be bad if you startled the sect masters of the Dragon Tiger Sect?" Even though there was a hint of reproach in his tone, his face was relaxed. "Not good. Someone has barged into the Dragon Tiger Sect, and they're almost here." In the guest hall of the Dragon Tiger Sect, the Dragon Tiger Sect's Zhang Biao's expression changed. He stood up abruptly and released his divine ancestor cultivation without holding back. "SSS, how could this be? Is this still our Dragon Tiger Sect?" Hearing Zhang Biao's words, Monkey and the other four released their divine consciousness to investigate their own sections. The instant they saw the situation of the Dragon Tiger Sect, their expressions changed. Not only were their bodies trembling, some of them even fell backwards the instant they saw this scene. If it wasn't for the chairs behind them, they would probably be lying on the ground right now. Looking at his brothers, Zhang Biao sneered and said, "There's no need to be silent now. Now that someone has come knocking on our door, I don't care what you guys are thinking. However, this is a critical moment. Do what you want to do." After saying that, Zhang Biao didn't say anything else. His figure slid and rushed towards the place where the incident occurred. However, the instant he left the guest hall, Zhang Biao's voice resounded in the guest hall once again, "Remember your oath. Remember our original intentions and determination when we first established the Dragon Tiger Sect." Sigh. Seeing Zhang Biao's figure disappear, the 5 people who were standing at the original spot couldn't help but sigh. They wanted to take action and resist. However, through their divine consciousness, they knew that they might not be a match for those two. Thinking about how they only managed to achieve this after so many years of bitter cultivation, their determination to take action was once again shaken. Humph, damn it. If we die, so be it. At most, we'll be heroes again 18 years later. The originally silent guest hall was broken by Monkey's voice. Turning around to look at the other four, Monkey was extremely disappointed. You guys, go do whatever you want. After saying that, Monkey's figure directly rushed out of the main door and towards the direction where Zhang Biao left. He's here. At this moment, in the front yard, the instant Lin Rei felt the divine Sect's aura, he knew that the Dragon Tiger Sect leader had taken action. As for what happened in the guest hall of the Dragon Tiger Sect, he clearly saw it. Such a weak sect, and they still have the nerve to say that they're a second-rate power in the City of Death. Such weak brothers still want them to help. What wishful thinking. Towards the four people who had yet to take action, killing intent flashed across Lin Rei's body. Although they didn't notice it, Lin Rei's surrounding temperature instantly dropped to the extreme under the effect of the killing intent. Boom, he's here. Zhang Biao, who was overflowing with anger, came in front of his children. When his feet landed on the ground beneath his feet cracked. You are? Shadow asked. Looking at the two women in front of him, Zhang Biao was speechless. He didn't expect that the two people in front of him didn't even know him. Why would they come here to kill if they didn't know him? Thinking about it, looking at his brothers, the nameless anger in his chest uncontrollably surged into his heart. You killed my brothers and you don't even know who I am. Good. Good. Perhaps because he was angered by Shadow, he said good 3 times in a row. Since you don't know, then you'll never know. Die. You overestimate yourself. Shadow didn't take it to heart at all. A divine sect and a supreme god. The two of them couldn't be compared at all. Whoosh, he attacked. Zhang Biao attacked. A 3-foot-long cold sword appeared in his hand. His figure instantly appeared beside Shadow at an incredible speed. He raised his sword and stabbed towards Lin Rei's chest. Killing with one blow. This was the usual style of these people who lived on the edge of death. They knew that if they didn't end the battle quickly, they would be the one to die. Feeling the energy fluctuation coming from her face, Shadow frowned. Her face was extremely gloomy. She didn't expect this person to be so ruthless and kill with one blow. Bang! The sound of weapons colliding rang out. Shadow attacked. Ice, who was on the side, reacted and casually clashed with his sword. It was originally a hot summer day, but at this moment, gusts of cold wind blew. Even Zhang Biao of Divine Sect couldn't help but shiver when he felt the chill. How can this be? He looked over with doubt. When he saw that the sword that had collided with his own sword was as cold as ice, and that the cold wind had come from it, he was shocked. This sword is a supreme-grade divine artifact? He was puzzled. He had seen supreme-grade divine artifacts before. Of course, seeing them didn't mean he had used them before. Divine artifacts were common in the divine realm, but supreme-grade divine artifacts weren't. Some blacksmiths might not even be able to refine 1 out of 10,000 weapons. Its power was unimaginable. But now, one appeared in front of him. Moreover, it was of the ice attribute. How could he not be shocked? At the same time, the moment he saw the supreme-grade divine artifact, he knew that Dragon Tiger Sect had kicked an existence that they could never afford to offend. One could imagine the background of someone who could possess a supreme-grade divine artifact. Which power are you from? Zhang Biao was terrified. Although he was in Death City, he was still very afraid of the big sects in the outside world. Us? Sect? Power? Looking at the middle-aged man in front of them, Shadow and Ice were puzzled. They didn't understand why he changed so quickly. He was clearly filled with killing intent before, but now, he had become like this. His battle intent had also decreased by more than half. "Gentlemen, I was presumptuous just now. May I know why you came to my Dragon Tiger sect to kill people? If your cultivation level decreases, I will pretend that nothing happened. Is that all right?" Looking at Zhang Biao, Shadow and the other two were speechless. However, they had already decided to exterminate the Dragon Tiger sect. So, there's no need to ask, and there's no need to guess. We don't have any power behind us. Just as Shadow was about to speak, Lin Rei's voice sounded. "Husband?" Hearing her husband's words, Shadow turned her head and saw that Lin Rei had already arrived. "You are?" Although he probed with his divine sense, he still asked because he knew that the person in front of him was the one who was in charge. "There's no need to say anything. Do it. I told you before that Hu Liang said that as long as he didn't do anything, everything would be fine." However, he didn't stop. Even when the entire Dragon Tiger sect was threatened, he remained indifferent. In the end, he chose to attack. "From that moment onwards, your lives have already entered the countdown." As he spoke, his eyes suddenly turned cold. "So, Zhang Biao, this moment is the moment of your death." After saying that, without any hesitation, Lin Rei's figure flashed. In Zhang Biao's eyes, Lin Rei seemed to have disappeared. However, that wasn't the case. In fact, it was because Lin Rei's speed was too fast and Zhang Biao's cultivation level was too low. Therefore, he couldn't detect him. "Gotcha." A crisp sound rang out. Zhang Biao, who was looking around cautiously, suddenly felt a pain in his neck. A burning pain appeared in his body. Bang! In the next moment, Zhang Biao's figure was thrown away. He flew for more than 10 meters and crashed into the wall. "Ah!" A miserable cry came out from Zhang Biao's mouth. His body was covered in illusory spirit blood fire. He cried out in pain and rolled on the ground. All of this happened too quickly, in the span of a single breath. Everything was done in just a single breath. "Sect Master." A call came from the sky. At this moment, Monkey had already arrived. However, looking at the scene in front of him, he knew that he was too late. Moreover, his Sect Master's life was over. "Come down." Chapter 922. Boom! A terrifying suction force suddenly appeared. Monkey, who was standing in the air, instantly lost control of his body and fell to the ground. Without any buffer, his body was basically in a stagnant state under that powerful suction force. Not to mention his cultivation, even his thoughts were useless at this moment. "Ah!" A painful cry came from the big pit. Without thinking, it was obvious that it was Monkey. "Heh, with just this little bit of strength, you want to live and die with me. Although it is foolish, I admire you a little. However, with just this, it is impossible for this sovereign to not be strong. As the saying goes, if you don't remove the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. This sovereign has always had a habit of not leaving trouble for himself. So, die. No. Don't." With a loud bang, dust flew up and the big pit became even deeper. Monkey's miserable cry came to an abrupt end at the moment of the loud bang. After doing all this, Lin Rei pursed his lips and smiled. With a thought, he released the scarlet flame tiger and said to it, "Go, finish it quickly. Time is limited, understand?" "Roar, don't worry, Brother Lei. Leave this to me." Perhaps because it had not been out for a long time, the Scarlet Flame Tiger's personality was especially lively. After responding, it turned into a red stream of light and instantly disappeared. Next, miserable cries rang out in the entire Dragon Tiger sect. The cries were miserable and sorrowful. Lin Rei did not set up a barrier to prevent such sounds from spreading out. Although other than Lin Rei, no one else knew what happened in the Dragon Tiger sect. Because of the miserable cries, the entire surging cloud city was in an uproar. These miserable cries had alerted them and also alerted the experts in the surging cloud city. It was a warning to the surging cloud city that an expert had come. Moreover, the expert had used a thunderous method to intimidate the tiger. The miserable cries did not last for long. The entire Dragon-Tiger sect was silent. Everyone in the Dragon-Tiger sect was stunned. Their faces were extremely pale. When the miserable cries stopped, it meant that there were no survivors in the Dragon-Tiger sect. Everyone felt a cold wind blow behind their backs. To be able to exterminate a sect in the surging cloud city, this was enough to shake the entire city. Let's go. Within Dragon-Tiger sect, the Crimson Flame Tiger returned. With a smile on its face, it walked over to Lin Rei's side with an insufferably arrogant stride. Yes. After nodding, the Red Flame Tiger turned into a stream of light and entered Lin Rei's body. Then, it left with Ing and Bing. The so-called coming and going without a trace was probably referring to Lin Rei and the others. However, this so-called coming and going without a trace was just Lin Rei using his own strength to raise his speed to the extreme. As for the spectators outside, they simply couldn't detect the silhouettes of Lin Rei and the others. Not long after Lin Rei and the other two left, the spectators outside felt a wave of doubt in their hearts. The sect of Dragon and Tiger did not make any sound, and those who were filled with curiosity wanted to go in and investigate. However, they were afraid of encountering strong martial artists, so they did not make a move until now. Tisk, should I go in or not? Heh, go on in. Maybe some strong martial artist has already left. TSK, maybe. As the saying goes, wealth comes from danger. For such a big shot, they naturally don't care about the sect of Dragon and Tiger, so. Go in, we must go in. Previously, we were bullied by the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Now that they have received the retribution that they deserve, I must go and take a look. This way, I can get rid of the hatred in my heart. On a bustling and prosperous street, there were stalls and shops on both sides of the street. Shouts rose and fell, and it was very lively. Lin Rei, who had left the sect of Dragon and Tiger, was walking on the street with his two wives. They looked left and right, looking at the things that they had never seen before and thought were rare. Especially Ing and Bing. When they saw the things that they liked, they threw everything to the back of their minds and became people who were sweeping the goods. Looking at the smile on his wife's face, Lin Rei, who originally wanted to act quickly, could not say anything. He sighed in his heart and temporarily threw the matter of going to Honglu to the back of his mind. He began to wander around. However, he did not know that the things in this dead city were really unique and rare. There were even some things that he did not recognize. Looking at these rare things, Lin Rei's heart moved and he joined the ranks. At this moment, in front of a stall, Lin Rei squatted down without a care for his image. He stretched out his hand and searched the stall. He wanted to see if he could find anything good here. Looking at the dazzling array of goods, Lin Rei's hair stood on end. He looked and looked, but in the end, he did not find anything that he liked. Moreover, Lin Rei discovered that most of the things that were displayed here were found in tombs. They all had a gloomy ghost chi. There were even some magic treasures that could store spirit chi. Because of the characteristics of the magic treasures and the gloomy ghost chi in the tombs, its nature changed greatly. It was originally a magic treasure that could store spirit chi, but in the end, it turned into a vicious weapon that could store ghost chi. Of course, to Lin Rei, it was useless. But to those cultivators who specialized in the ghost Dao, this thing was simply a godly existence. Ah, none of your good things were dug out from tombs. Looking at the boss, Lin Rei did not control his volume and said bluntly. Originally, the boss thought it was a big customer. But after hearing this, the boss's face suddenly darkened. A sense of anger rose in his heart. Looking at Lin Rei, the boss's eyes flashed with killing intent and he said, "Young man, if you don't know, then don't talk nonsense. Do you know that you can easily get yourself killed by this? Don't tell me your mother hasn't seen you before. Also, if you don't know, then don't talk nonsense. You're trying to ruin my show. I will think that you came from some shop to find trouble." Feeling the boss's killing intent, Lin Rei was stunned. He sneered in his heart, as expected, in this dead city, there is no one who hasn't been stained with blood. A roadside stall owner has such a heavy killing intent. It seems like he has killed a lot of people. How can you say that? My husband said that, so what? Also, even if you give these things to us for free, we still have to consider whether or not we want them. It's so gloomy. One look and I can tell that it's not a righteous path. Humph. The sudden reprimand stunned Linley. The boss was stunned. The people on the street were even more stunned. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Ice. At this moment, Ice had become the focus of the entire street. Good, well said. On the side, Ing clapped and cheered. As she clapped, she winked at Lin Rei. Looking at his wife and sister, Lin Rei came back to his senses. He bitterly smiled and shook his head. You too, although we can walk freely here, but look around, Hearing this, the two women were stunned. They turned around and saw that all the passers-by's eyes were focused on them. The two women were dumbfounded. Let's go. Getting up, he didn't want to be entangled here. He held their hands and intended to leave the crowd. Wait. Just when Lin Rei was about to turn around and leave, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Suddenly, Lin Rei's figure froze on the spot. Go back, there is something I need here. Hurry up. The little dragon's anxious voice sounded in Lin Rei's mind. What? You? Facing the little dragon, Lin Rei was stunned. His expression was full of doubts. Little dragon, are you sure there is something you need here? Are you stupid? Turning his head, Lin Rei looked at the broken things behind the stall. For a moment, he began to doubt if the little dragon saw wrongly. Don't talk nonsense. There is something I need there. Moreover, this thing can help my main body. Quickly stand up and take it. Such a good thing, if it is found by others, then, okay. Without waiting for the little dragon to finish speaking, Lin Rei directly grabbed it. At this moment, Lin Rei no longer had the mood to play. The original smile on his face disappeared. Say it. That thing, I will buy it for you. Even if someone wants to snatch it, I will bring it to you. If the other party really doesn't give it to you, then, kill him and snatch it later. Lin Rei's words rang in his heart. However, at this moment in the system, looking at Lin Rei's serious face, he knew that Lin Rei's words had always been very serious, especially before this matter. He knew that Lin Rei had put in a lot of effort, but even so, for so many years, he still couldn't find it. Of course. Now that he found an existence that could refine the body, how could Lin Rei not be serious, how could he not be strong? But, that, actually, I just felt it. You should look for it carefully. Just treat it as an experiment for you. Let's see how good you are at identifying heaven and earth treasures. You're not joking. Xiaolong's words caused Linli to be stupefied. Anyone in the know would be able to tell that even Xiaolong himself didn't know the answer. It was just a feeling. But now, he was so shameless as to experiment. Damn, why don't you go and die? Of course, despite this, Lin Rei didn't leave because of this. After all, this was a serious matter. It would be best if he could find it, but if he couldn't, it wouldn't make much of a difference. Sigh. With a sigh, his gaze fell on the stall. He suddenly released his divine sense and began to scan the dazzling lineup of goods, hoping to find what he wanted through his divine sense. At the same time, while his divine sense was scanning, his eyes also began to scan constantly. On the side, seeing their husband like this, they were puzzled. They didn't understand. They had just said that they would leave, but now, at this moment, when the onlookers saw that Lin Rei and the other two weren't talking, they returned to their original state and went about their own business. What are you trying to do? Didn't you say that all my things here were trash? Didn't you say that all my things here were junk? Didn't you say that all my things here were taken from cemeteries, huh? What's wrong now? Seeing that Linley's gaze was constantly scanning the stall, as though he was looking for something, the shop owner immediately became unyielding. He had a look that said, "Since you're buying my stuff, you have to listen to my nagging." However, at this moment, Lin Rei couldn't care less about the shop owner who was so annoying. At this moment, he was wholeheartedly focused on finding heaven and earth treasures. Nothing, still nothing, why is there still nothing? Seeing that there wasn't the slightest bit of heaven and earth treasure aura that the little dragon had mentioned, Lin Rei couldn't help but wonder if the little dragon had made a mistake. Impossible, Lin Rei, I can't be wrong. I can feel that blazing thing. It's something that can mold my body. There must be something, hurry up and find it, or ask the shop owner, ask him if all his things are here. Okay. Seeing that the little dragon was so anxious, Lin Rei quickly responded. Then, he looked up at the shop owner and said, "Shop owner, are all the things here? Did you miss anything? Or do you have more on you? F***ck, what are you trying to do?" Suddenly, the shop owner's expression changed, as if he was trying to hide something. Heh, it seems like there really is something. The shop owner's expression was so obvious that if Lin Rei couldn't see it, he would have cultivated for so long in vain. "You, take it out. You can set the price. Of course, it's fine as long as it's not too excessive." Since he didn't rob him openly, he could just let him say whatever he wanted. Using peaceful means before resorting to force was the way of a gentleman. "No, nothing, everything is here. Buy it or leave. If you don't want to buy it, then get lost. Don't hinder my business." After saying that, the shop owner waved his hand impatiently to chase them away. 5 upper-grade divine artifacts. How about I give you these 5 upper-grade divine artifacts in exchange? 5. Hearing 5 upper-grade divine artifacts, the shop owner's expression changed and his breathing quickened. However, the instant after his excitement, he returned to his original state and shook his head to refuse. No. Hurry up and leave, or I'll call for help. 10 upper-grade divine artifacts, how about that? To increase the price, 10 upper-grade divine artifacts were nothing. Shop owner, don't push your luck. It's a virtue to know when to stop. It's not good to be insatiable. You might even lose your life. Think carefully. A murderous aura appeared. At this moment, Lin Rei had decided that if he still didn't have 10 upper-grade divine artifacts, but he wanted something, he wouldn't mind killing one more person today. Feeling the temperature around him drop, the shop owner stopped abruptly. His complexion turned pale and his body started to tremble. He seemed like he was about to lose all his strength. Seeing Lin Rei, the shop owner was extremely terrified. He wanted to refuse. However, he realized that if he didn't agree to it this time, it would not be worth it the next time. Furthermore, as a merchant that wanted to make a profit, he would usually make the correct choice. Seeing that Lin Rei was ready to attack at any moment, the shop owner grew silent and began to ponder. Hurry up. My time is limited. After 3 breaths, if I still don't hear the answer I want, then, I'll give, okay? As a merchant, it must be said that the shop owner before him was very successful. At this moment, Lin Rei revealed a smile on his face. The murderous aura around him instantly disappeared. What the hell? Why did I run into a fiend like you today? As he spoke, he unwillingly took out a purple jade pendant from his bosom and handed it to Lin Rei. Scarlet Sun Jade. Chapter 923. Crimson Sun Jade? The Crimson Sun Jade is an extremely powerful treasure of heaven and earth. Understanding Lin Rei's confusion, the little dragon began to explain, the Crimson Sun Jade contains the essence of the sun. Not only that, but the quality of the jade itself is special. No one knows what it is, but if you want to reconstruct a physical body, the Crimson Sun Jade is undoubtedly the first choice. Lin Rei was very confused after hearing about the uses of the Crimson Sun Jade. He had never heard of the Crimson Sun Jade before, and the little dragon had never mentioned the existence of the Crimson Sun Jade before. Now that such a piece had suddenly appeared, and it said that it was an essential material for reconstructing a physical body, Lin Rei was not prepared for it at all. Actually, it's not easy to find a piece of this thing. The reason why I didn't mention it before was that it didn't exist here at all. Even if I went to the Holy World, it would be impossible to find it, so I didn't think of it. But now that I've found it, since there's such a good material, I'll have to rethink what I said before. You also said that you're going to refine a physical body for me. Since that's the case, I'll have to use the best. Only then will I be able to show my importance, right? Lin Rei was completely speechless at the little dragon's shameless words. However, when he thought about how he was one step closer to the plan of reconstructing a physical body for him, these things were not so important anymore. Alright, whatever you say, but... As if he had thought of something, he said, since the material for reconstructing a physical body has changed, then the previous plan has been disrupted. So, if you need any materials, you can tell me. Or if you come across something you need, just give me a hint. It doesn't matter if it has an owner or not, as long as it's within my ability, I'll definitely get it for you. Hearing Lin Rei's words in the system, the little dragon felt a touch of warmth in his heart. He did not say anything about Lin Rei's words. To him, Lin Rei was not only his friend, but also his disciple. From a child who didn't know anything to an ant who didn't know anything, he had watched him slowly grow from nothing to something, from a weak person to a strong person. The feelings between them had already entwined them together and could not be separated. Alright, then do as you see fit. There was no gratitude, because he didn't need it, and Lin Rei didn't want to hear it either. After cutting off the connection with the little dragon, he came back to his senses and looked up at the boss. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "These are the divine artifacts that I promised you. Of course, including this high-grade divine artifact ring, there are a total of 10 divine artifacts. You'd better keep this to yourself. Since you've taken my money, don't spread rumors about what happened today. If I hear about what happened today from other people's mouths, I will take back the divine artifacts before the time is up. I will also take your life. Even if you have to go to the ends of the earth, I will not rest until one of us is dead. Do you understand?" He wanted to open his mouth, but that solemn murderous aura instantly appeared, causing him to be stunned on the spot. He didn't dare to speak, and he didn't even dare to move his body. He was afraid that if he moved, his life would no longer belong to him. Looking at the boss, Lin Rei handed the ring to him. Then, he grabbed the red sun jade and left the stall with his 2 wives. They walked towards a restaurant not far away. Today's matter was mainly thanks to the 2 of them. If it weren't for them shopping, he wouldn't have the chance to find such a unique object that the little dragon said could create a physical body. Thinking about it, Lin Rei was very excited. "Husband, you." Following behind Lin Rei, her heart was filled with doubts. She didn't know what happened just now, but she knew that her husband must have obtained something that couldn't be seen. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used 10 high-grade divine artifacts as a condition of exchange. Let's go. Let's go in and eat while we talk. Understanding the two of them's doubts, he said and led them into the restaurant. After walking in, they found a table by the window and sat down. Sirs, what would you like to eat? At this time, the waiter came up and asked. Your signature dishes and the best wine here. I don't need any other wine. Okay, please wait a moment. Hearing Lin Rei's order, the waiter's face was full of smiles. Because in his opinion, Lin Rei and his two wives were too expensive. I'll go and rush the dishes. Please wait a moment. After saying that, he turned around and left. Whoosh! Suddenly, a big sister appeared around the three of them and lifted them up. Seeing this, the two of them were stunned and looked at Lin Rei doubtfully, wanting him to give an explanation. Looking at his children's doubts, Lin Rei opened his mouth and explained what happened before. Of course, Lin Rei didn't mention anything about the system and the little dragon. It wasn't that he didn't trust his children, but this was his life. It was also a fatal existence. He didn't want to bring danger to his children because of this matter. And hearing Lin Rei's explanation, his children nodded repeatedly, their faces were full of smiles. That's great. I didn't expect to get such a good thing in such a place. Yes. Saying that, Bing picked up the tea and said to Lin Rei, Congratulations, husband, for getting AI Bao. The sudden congratulations caused Linley to be startled. Then, he came back to his senses, and a smile appeared on his face. Today was still considered a happy day. He got the little dragon's body reconstruction item and also solved the problem of the dragon and tiger sect. Although this little episode might be a little bloody, at least it had the effect of warning the tiger. Lin Rei believed that the appearance of the three of them was now in front of the leaders of the major forces in the Dead City. However, Linley's guess was right. At this moment, within the various major factions in the City of Death, all the people in charge were sitting on their chairs. Their faces were gloomy as they stared at the three tables in front of them. The entire scene was silent. After the Dragon and Tiger sect was destroyed in the Dead City today, this matter seemed to have grown wings. In a short while, the entire Dead City knew about it. Even now, the topic of conversation before and after meals was about the Dragon and Tiger sect's destruction. Of course, there were many versions of this matter. Some said that the Dragon and Tiger sect was not pleasing to the eye, so they destroyed it. Some said that the Dragon and Tiger sect's leader, Zhang Biao, slept with the woman of the Dragon and Tiger sect, so the Dragon and Tiger sect was angry and killed him. With regards to these rumors, only the people in the restaurants thought so. As for the internal forces, they didn't think so at all. They all knew what happened, but because of this, they couldn't help but be on guard against the three people who suddenly appeared. Think about it, the moment they entered the Dead City, they used such a thunderous method to warn the tiger. What were they trying to do? Provoke? Or insolence? They didn't care about these. They only wanted to know the purpose of Lin Rei and the other two's visit, and they wanted to send the three of them away as soon as possible. Because of the three of them being restless, they were afraid that they would be like Hu Liang, who spoke rudely and provoked the Dragon and Tiger sect. Chapter 924. The central area of the City of Death was the most prosperous place in the entire City of Death. At the same time, it was also the most central hub of the entire City of Death. To be able to have a place here meant that one was undoubtedly the most powerful existence in the entire City of Death. Among them, Hong Lu was one of them. In the entire City of Death, no one dared to be their enemy, and even more so, no one dared to offend them. Because as long as it was a cultivator, there would be a time when they needed information. If someone dared to offend them, then as long as they released a piece of news, then the person who offended Hong Lu would be hunted down endlessly in an instant. Even those who wanted to show goodwill to Hong Lu would join the ranks of the hunt. And this was also the reason why Hong Lu was able to stand firm in the City of Death. Up until now, no one dared to shake their position. Hong Lu, tisk, it's indeed extraordinary. Such a huge area, I'm afraid there are only a few in the entire City of Death. At this moment, Lin Rei was standing in front of Hong Lu looking at the huge 6-story building. He couldn't help but sigh. Husband, is this huge? Yes. This doesn't even seem to be as big as the place where a disciple of our Xuanzong sect lives. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, the two ladies didn't bother to hide their words from the crowd. Moreover, their voices were so loud that everyone on the street, as well as the people at the front of Hong Lu, focused their attention on them. Feeling everyone's gaze, Lin Rei was sweating profusely. What did they mean by saying something that didn't shock people to death? What did they mean by one wouldn't die if one didn't seek death? This was a typical example. Sister, can we not be so boastful? This isn't our territory. Although you're very strong, you don't have to be like this. Although he was thinking in his heart, he still wore a smile on his face. Looking at his two wives, he said, well, the two of you should watch your words next time. What do you mean by not big? Hong Lu is famous in the entire realm of the gods. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. As he spoke, he smiled and nodded to the crowd. Then, he cupped his hands towards the guards of Hong Lu and said, my wife is not sensible, please forgive her. As he spoke, in order to ease the awkwardness, he quickly changed the topic, well, how do I get there? Humph. Seeing Lin Rei like this, the guard coldly snorted. But since business came knocking, how could they refuse? Moreover, they were only gatekeepers and didn't have the slightest bit of power. If you want to buy information, please come in. However, if you're here to cause trouble, then you'd better consider where you are and where you stand. After saying that, the guards returned to their original positions and stood still without saying anything. Thank you. He smiled awkwardly and politely, then turned his head and glanced at the two girls, and said, you two really don't feel comfortable if you don't make some noise. This is other people's territory, so be careful when you talk in the future. Oh, got it. Knowing that she had said something wrong, she stuck out her tongue, looking as if she was telling the truth even though she was wrong. Sigh. Forget it, let's go. Seeing the two of them like this, Lin Rei didn't insist and let nature take its course. He turned around and led the two of them into the Hong Tower. The moment the three of them entered the Hong Tower, they were stunned for a moment and then recovered. However, Lin Rei was still very shocked by this place. After all, the force behind it should be quite powerful to build such a huge information center in such a city. Excuse me, what kind of information do you want to buy? As long as you can tell us its characteristics, we will definitely collect it for you in a month. At this time, a guard stepped forward and asked Lin Rei with a salute. Oh? Really? Hearing this guarantee, Lin Rei was a little confused. After all, what he was looking for was the origin of the Great Way of Space. Even if he went there himself, he might not be able to confirm it. Moreover, characteristics? Damn, where am I going to find the characteristics for you? For a moment, Lin Rei was in a dilemma. He only knew the origin of the Great Way of Space. As for the characteristics, he could only say, ha. However, when he saw Lin Rei's disbelief and skeptical attitude, he suddenly paused and a touch of imperceptible meaning surged into his heart, of course, as long as you can tell us. Lin Rei. Speechless. At this moment, other than being speechless, he didn't know what to say. You're so stupid. Just tell us the characteristics. Have there been many spatial cracks appearing out of thin air in some places recently? Or some strange things happening in some places? The more, the better. Anyway, you still have time. As long as you refine one of the origins, you should be able to break through to the Saint Realm, the little dragon said. Okay, I understand. Looking at the young man, Lin Rei repeated the little dragon's words. The young man was stunned. Then, he nodded and said, okay, please wait for a moment. I'll go and check if there are any characteristics you mentioned recently. Okay, replied the young man. Looking at the back of the young man, he was a little nervous. It would be great if he could really find them. Of course, at this moment, he didn't have much hope. Excuse me, you are. At this moment, a voice came from behind. Turning around, he saw an old man looking at him with a kind face and expectation. Looking at him, Lin Rei frowned and asked, you are? Lin Rei was sure that he didn't know this old man. Moreover, he could feel that the old man's cultivation was at the early divine monarch realm. Moreover, he was in Death City. I'm Xiaofan, the third elder of Honglu. Please forgive me for my presumptuousness. Oh? The third elder of Honglu? Looking at him, Lin Rei was slightly surprised. He didn't know why the third elder of Honglu was here. What's the matter? Excuse me, are you the senior who destroyed the dragon and tiger sect? At this moment, Xiaofan transmitted his voice. While speaking, he kept staring at Lin Rei. He wanted to see clearly. Just a moment ago, he wanted to go out. However, when he went downstairs, he saw Lin Rei and the other two walking in. At first, he just glanced at them and wasn't sure. However, the more he looked, the more shocked he was. Because when Lin Rei destroyed Hu Liang, his appearance was remembered by others. After destroying the dragon and tiger sect, his appearance was displayed in front of the leaders of the major forces in Death City. Therefore, as the third elder of Honglu, he naturally knew who he was. TSK, I didn't expect this matter to spread so quickly. Looking at Xiaofan, Lin Rei was stunned. He didn't admit it or refuse to answer. Hiss, Xiaofan sucked in a breath of cold air. His face was filled with shock. Although Lin Rei didn't answer him directly, he knew that the person in front of him was the one who destroyed the dragon and tiger sect. Thinking of this, Xiaofan's attitude became even more humble. He didn't dare to offend the person who destroyed the dragon and tiger sect. Although his cultivation was at the divine monarch realm, he wanted to test Lin Rei. However, when his divine sense scanned Lin Rei's body, it was like a yak entering the sea. He was speechless. Chapter 925. Senior, please head to the inner court for a chat. My master, Honglu, would like to get to know you. I wonder, if you have the time? Xiaofan could only use please towards Lin Rei. No matter if it was Lin Rei's unyielding methods or his bottomless cultivation, he had no choice but to bow. Your master? Looking at Xiaofan, Lin Rei was stunned. Looking at Xiaofan's pleading gaze, Lin Rei smiled and nodded. Sure. That's two, but... Before Xiaofan could finish, Lin Rei continued. I still have to wait here for the information. After I get the information I want, I'll accompany you to see your master. After speaking, Lin Rei's gaze fell on the front and no longer looked at Xiaofan. He was serious. Before he got the information he wanted, he wouldn't go anywhere. In his heart, between the source information and the master of Honglu, Lin Rei leaned towards the source information. As for the master, he didn't care about him at all. Seeing Lin Rei like this, Xiaofan was stunned and then felt embarrassed. He couldn't use force and could only agree in the end. Since that's the case, senior, please wait for a moment. I'll go inform the master now. He didn't say anything and didn't look at Xiaofan. Xiaofan smiled awkwardly and then turned around and walked upstairs. At this moment, the 6th floor was where Hong Lu's master, Hong Yu, was. Besides him, no one else would come here. If there was a meeting, the elders of Hong Lu would appear here. At other times, no one would come here and no one would dare to come. At this moment, Hong Yu was sitting before the table with his brows tightly knitted together. His face was filled with irritation as if he'd encountered something bad. With a muffled bang, Hong Yu raised his hand and slapped the table. His face was filled with annoyance. Bastard! Who the hell are you? You actually dared to go against my Hong Lu. Could it be that you want to become my enemy? Suddenly, a wisp of killing intent arose. Just moments ago, he'd obtained a piece of information, and it stated that the stronghold of Hong Lu in Intonation City had been completely uprooted overnight. 136 Hong Lu disciples had been annihilated, and the state of their deaths was horrifying to the point it was unbearable to look at. Originally, the people who had killed Hong Yu did not realize it. However, the other party seemed to have deliberately provoked them. After killing Hong Yu, they hung all 136 corpses on top of the city gates. This matter was known by the Hong Lu disciples in the other cities, and they sent the news back. Thinking of Hong Lu being provoked, his dignity being challenged, Hong Yu couldn't help but feel sullen. Hong Lu had been operating in the 9th state for so many years, and no one had ever made an enemy out of them so recklessly. They had been here for so long, but now, something like this had happened. Dong, dong, dong. Someone knocked on the door. Hong Yu, who was in a fit of anger, frowned and raised his head. A trace of unhappiness appeared on his face. Who is it? Didn't I tell you not to disturb me if there's nothing important? Could it be that you've ignored my words? Outside the door, Xiaofan was startled when he heard the voice from inside. Then, he bitterly smiled and said, "Leader, Xiaofan has something to report. I wonder if you have time to come out and see me." Elder Xiaofan. Hearing the voice from outside the door, Hong Yu immediately recognized who it was. Then, Hong Yu was startled and said, "Elder Xiaofan, didn't you go out? Why are you back?" Saying that, Hong Yu stood up, tidied up his messy clothes, and walked towards the door. Although he was the leader of Hong Lu, the status of an elder was only second to him. Speaking of which, the elders had a lot of power. Even he didn't dare to go against the elders. Jia. The door opened, and Xiaofan's figure appeared. Looking at Xiaofan's current appearance, Hong Yu was startled and very confused. As the calmest existence in the elder group, there was a rare trace of anxiousness on his face, and the trace of fear in his eyes was completely exposed. Hong Yu was stunned and asked, "Elder Xiao, what's the matter?" "Leader, someone came downstairs. I acted on my own initiative and said you wanted to see him," said Xiaofan. "What?" Hong Yu frowned and revealed a displeased expression. He didn't expect Xiaofan to be like this. However, thinking about it, Hong Yu was surprised. He couldn't figure out just what kind of existence could make Xiaofan act like this and have him come out personally. As the leader of Hong Lu, he definitely wouldn't see someone like this. Hong Yu's displeasure disappeared and he said, "Who is it to make Elder Xiao think so highly of him?" Looking at Hong Yu, Xiaofan sighed, "Leader, do you still remember the destruction of the Dragon and Tiger Sect?" "Of course I remember. The images of those people are still on my table." Suddenly, Hong Yu was startled and looked at Xiaofan with a dumbfounded expression. You can't be talking about." "Yes, that's the person." After receiving confirmation, Hong Yu sucked in a breath of cold air and revealed a shocked expression. How could this be? Why would they come here? Hong Yu's heart was filled with doubts about Lin Rei's arrival. At this moment, he thought of many possibilities, and even the destruction of a sect appeared in his mind. Hong Yu's gaze was very complicated, and all kinds of different expressions appeared one after another. Seeing Hong Yu's change, Xiaofan was startled. He knew that Hongyu might be thinking too much, so he said, Tower Master, don't be nervous. I just went up and asked. That person came here for no other reason than to investigate the information he wanted. There's no other reason. Phew. Hearing this, Hongyu was clearly relieved. However, it could still be seen that he was nervous as cold sweat dripped down from his forehead. Before Xiaofan could say anything, Hongyu said, alright, since that person is here, let's go take a look. I also want to see what kind of person he is to be able to destroy the Dragon Tiger Sect in such a short period of time. After saying that, he didn't wait for Xiaofan to turn around and walk down the stairs. What an impatient temper. Just like your father. I just don't know if your personality is good or bad. Looking at Hongyu's back, Xiaofan sighed and casually followed. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was on the first floor, didn't know that because of his arrival, the owner of Hong Tower, Hongyu, was quite frightened. At this moment, he was leisurely looking at everything around him. He was originally bored, so he brought his children to walk around. Looking at the decorations of Hong Tower, Lin Rei couldn't help but sigh. So rich. Such good decorations. Just the beast hides of the God Emperor realm are not cheap. Moreover, there are so many of them. As he said that, he looked at the beast hides hanging on the walls and ground and couldn't help but click his tongue. Linley was filled with admiration for this person's generosity. He believed that even the profound sect probably wouldn't be able to afford something like this. Linley might be able to afford 5 pieces of Emperor God beast hides, but based on a rough estimate, this person had to have at least 20 of them. Most importantly, this was only the first floor, and Linley wasn't sure how many there would be on the next 5 floors. Who knows, there might even be beast hides of the hierarch realm. At this moment, Lin Rei was even more curious about Hong Tower, but he was even more curious about the power behind Hong Tower. At the same time, Lin Rei couldn't help but feel sad for the demonic beasts. There were so many God Emperor realm demonic beasts, it probably couldn't be accumulated in just 1 or 2 places. Even though this was the divine world, there weren't many God Emperor realm demonic beasts in the demonic beast mountain range. Now that there were so many beast hides here, Lin Rei couldn't imagine how great the loss of the demonic beasts would be. Even Lin Rei felt that it was strange. Because of this, the demonic beasts would have a shortage of young men and old men. Just as Lin Rei was sighing and clicking his tongue, a voice entered Lin Rei's ears from behind. Of course, only Lin Rei could hear it. No one else could hear it. This one is Hong Tower's current tower lord, Hongyu. May I know how to address you? Hearing this voice, Lin Rei turned around. When he saw a middle-aged man with an elegant aura, Lin Rei was stunned for a moment. Then, he smiled and said, Lin Rei. So it's fellow Taoist Lin. Please forgive me for not coming out to greet you. Today, all the information in this humble tower is free of charge. Take it as a greeting gift from me. How about it? Lin Rei naturally agreed. As the saying goes, if you don't take advantage of others, you're a bastard. As a human, Lin Rei didn't want to be a bastard. Then it's better to be smart than to be respectful. At this moment, Linley was no longer as cold as before towards Hongyu, the master of Honglu. But that was all. After all, he had taken advantage of others, and he had taken advantage of them. Linley was no exception. Fellow Taoist, you're already very kind to me. As he spoke, a smile appeared on his face. At this moment, he was sure that the person in front of him didn't have any evil intentions. At the same time, he was full of praise for Xiaofan. After all, if he could become friends with such an expert, it would be great. As the saying goes, the more friends you have, the more options you have. No one wanted to have enemies. Fellow Taoist Lin, you see, this isn't a good place to talk. why don't we go upstairs? Hong Yu probed. I'm waiting for information. Simple and straightforward. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu was startled. He said, it's okay. If I find the information you want, I'll send someone to send it up. How about that? Looking at Hong Yu, Linley chuckled, then nodded. In Linley's heart, he had a very good impression of Hong Yu. After all, as the lord of a floor lord, this was already more than enough. Then, he nodded and said, if that's the case, then I'll have to trouble you. Please. Seeing Lin Rei agree, Hong Yu suddenly made an inviting gesture and stepped forward to lead the way. Ha! Seeing Hong Yu like this, Lin Rei had a good impression of him. Looking at Hong Yu's back, he took the two women's hands and followed him. The moment they left, the entire Hong Tower was in an uproar. As the master of Hong Tower, Hong Yu personally came down to welcome someone. This was something that had never happened before. At the same time, everyone was secretly guessing the identity of the young man who was welcomed by Hong Yu. Some said he was a powerful cultivator, some said he was a good friend, and some even said he was his father's illegitimate son. There were all sorts of cliché versions of the story. There were all sorts of different opinions. Moreover, this matter seemed to have grown wings and instantly spread throughout the city. Seeing Hong Yu's behavior, all the major forces were shocked. Then, they sent their elders to Hong Tower to investigate. After all, Hong Tower was one of the transcendental forces in the City of Death. Now that Hong Yu, the master of Hong Tower, was welcoming someone like this, it was enough to make all the major forces pay attention. Hong Tower was very powerful. Nobody wanted them to have another powerful cultivator. To all the major forces, this wasn't a good thing. However, Lin Rei and Hong Yu didn't know about the actions of the major forces in the City of Death. At this moment, Lin Rei followed Hong Yu to a room on the 6th floor and sat on a chair. Hong Yu quickly sent someone to bring the best tea. Looking at Lin Rei's wife beside him, Hong Yu even ordered someone to bring out the golden snow fruit. Xiaofan, who was standing at the side, was extremely shocked. Others might not know, but he knew very well that the golden snow fruit was an extremely rare treasure. Although it wasn't a high-grade fruit, nor could it increase one's cultivation or stabilize one's soul, the golden snow fruit was very sweet. It was one of the most delicious fruits in the divine world. Of course, because it was very difficult to survive, very few people were able to eat it. Even the 7 major sects were the same. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu was still smiling. Fellow cultivator Lin, it's your first time in the City of Death, right? Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he nodded. Yes, it's my first time here. At the side, Xiaofan was speechless. He thought to himself, isn't this F*King obvious? Why did you ask such a stupid question? Of course, although he thought that in his heart, he still wore a smile on his face and said something else. House master, why don't I go order a banquet now? Let's talk while eating. Look, it's already time. Yes, 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 yes. Let's go to the best restaurant in the City of Death and order the best. As for the wine, let's use my precious consonance wine. Hong Yu was very supportive of Xiaofan's suggestion. However, Lin Rei was stunned when he heard that. As a deity realm cultivator, he didn't feel hungry anymore. He wouldn't feel hungry even if it had been hundreds of thousands of years. Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei was amused. Especially when he thought of the words, "It's time to eat." However, even though he felt it was funny, Lin Rei didn't speak up to stop them. After all, they had good intentions. After Xiaofan left, the scene fell into an awkward silence. Hong Yu was even more at a loss. He looked left and right, wanting to say something but not opening his mouth. He looked like he wanted to say something but was hesitant to do so. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei felt helpless. To be honest, seeing him like this, Lin Rei couldn't help but feel anxious for him. "House Master Hong, if you have something to say, just say it." Hearing this, Hong Yu was stunned. Then, he smiled awkwardly. I'm sorry. I have a question. I wonder if fellow Taoist Lin can answer it." "Speak." "I want to ask, how did the Dragon Tiger sect provoke you? Why did you annihilate them?" As expected, after hearing Hong Yu's question, Lin Rei pursed his lips. Before Hong Yu asked, Lin Rei had already guessed it. He didn't hide it at all. "Because one of them, Hu Liang, provoked me. Moreover, I gave him a chance. However, he didn't know how to cherish it and even used his status to suppress me." That's it?" Hearing this, Hong Yu was stunned. Although he knew a little about it before, he still couldn't help but be shocked when he heard it from the person himself. Chapter 926. That's it. What else do you want? Seeing Lin Rei's nonchalant expression, Hong Yu's heart suddenly trembled. He subconsciously wanted to take a step back, but when he was about to do so, he realized that he was sitting on the chair and had nowhere to go. However, he quickly reacted. After all, he was the head of Hong Lu and his mental strength was great. "Then why did you come here this time?" Hong Yu probed again. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Li chuckled, then explained why he had come here. "The main reason I came here is to acquire the information I need. After acquiring it, I will leave. I won't stay here for too long." "Oh, I see." Strangely, hearing Lin Rei's words, Hong Yu's heart inexplicably relaxed, as if the knife on his neck had disappeared. Just like that, Hong Yu no longer had a trace of vigilance against Lin Rei. Then, the two of them began to speak freely without the awkwardness and unfamiliarity from before. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, the sky outside turned dark and the dishes on the table were all finished. Looking at the smile on Lin Rei's face, Hong Yu felt much more at ease. Knock knock. Suddenly, just after the meal, while Lin Rei and the others were in a daze, a hurried knock on the door entered their ears. "Who is it? Come in and talk." Hong Yu was very unhappy with the person who came to disturb them, but he couldn't vent his anger in front of Lin Rei. In the end, he could only speak softly. "Jia." The door opened and Xiaofan tiptoed in. He held an invitation in his hand and said, "Head, someone from the Wanbao Pavilion just came to pass on a message. They said that their auction will officially start tomorrow and they invited you to come tomorrow. They also said that this time, the auction will have a collection of very rare things and that you will definitely be interested." As he spoke, he raised his hand and handed the invitation in his hand to Hong Yu and continued, "Here, this is the invitation they gave you." Wanbao Pavilion? Hong Yu was stunned when he heard Xiaofan, and then he pondered deeply. If there was one place in the entire Death City that didn't take Hong Lu seriously, then it was none other than the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. The Myriad Treasure Pavilion was the same as the Hong Pavilion. It was a huge system with many shops, restaurants, and many other facades. Of course, this was not their main money-making project. Their most profitable project was the auction just now. It was held once every 1,000 years. Of course, this was in the past. In recent years, it had changed from 1,000 years to 500 years. Moreover, the items that were auctioned every time were very precious. Privately, he also had a slave trading market. Although the slave trading market was not listed under the Wanbao Pavilion, one could clearly find out the relationship between the two with a simple check. Looking at the post, Hong Yu took it and frowned, looking irritated. "I didn't expect this guy to hold an auction again. It seems that this time they will make a lot of money." Xiaofan's forehead was covered in sweat when he heard his master's words. However, he wasn't wrong. If it was in terms of wealth, then his Hong Lu really wasn't a match. In fact, he wouldn't even be a match for Hong Lu. Fortunately, Hong Lu's main business was information. Otherwise, there really wouldn't be a place for Hong Lu in the Death City. Sigh. I'm so worried. After complaining, he ordered, since they are treating us, we must accept it. As he spoke, he suddenly thought of Linley, and a bright light flashed through his eyes. He turned his head to look at Linley. Fellow Taoist Linley, you heard it as well. There are many rare items in this auction. Why don't we go take a look and see if there's anything you need? If there is, then that's great. If there isn't, then we can just take it as taking a stroll. How about that? Hong Yu looked at Lin Rei with anticipation. Not only Hong Yu, but even Xiao Nye was the same. Do you want to go? Ignoring the expectant gazes of the two, he turned around and asked his two wives beside him, ignoring their gazes of anticipation. Yes, can we go? Yes, we want to go, but we are afraid of delaying our husband's business. Seeing Ying speak, Bing quickly chimed in. You want to go? Seeing the expectant looks on their faces, Linley was startled. Laughing bitterly, he shook his head. Turning his gaze to Hong Yu, he said, I heard you. Both of my wives want to go. Since that's the case, let's go take a look and see if there are any materials I want. Great. Seeing Lin Rei agree, Hong Yu almost jumped up from his chair in excitement. However, he soon noticed his own strangeness and smiled awkwardly. Well, it's decided. We will go together tomorrow. As he spoke, he turned to Xiao Nye and nodded with a face full of surprise. In fact, to him, the biggest benefit of bringing Lin Rei was to prove to the other forces in the Death City that he had formed a friendship with the expert of the Annihilation Dragon and Tiger Sect. He could use Lin Rei's reputation to deter those who had long been uneasy about Hong Lu. Okay, I will go and prepare now. After speaking, Xiao Nye turned and left. Husband, shouldn't we go back? At this time, Ying suddenly reminded Lin Rei. Yes, husband, we have been here for a day, and... Seeing Ying speak, she quickly chimed in. And the information you want hasn't been delivered yet. Bing's words not only reminded Lin Rei, but also reminded Hong Yu. He was puzzled. This kind of thing had never happened before. According to the usual speed, after receiving the task, they would be able to deliver the information within 2 hours. However, after such a long time, the person who went to check the information did not come back to report. Suddenly, his body trembled. Hong Yu felt as if a monster that had been waiting for a long time was staring at him. The inexplicable fear and pressure made Hong Yu suffocate. He raised his head with difficulty. When he saw Lin Rei's cold eyes looking at him, Hong Yu suddenly realized that the beast-like gaze belonged to Lin Rei. Oh, that. Fellow Taoist Lin, please wait a moment. I will go and check it myself. Give me 5 minutes. I will definitely deliver the information to you in 5 minutes. In order to not let the newly established friendship collapse, Hong Yu smiled awkwardly. After promising Lin Rei, he used his cultivation and teleported away. It seems that husband's gaze scared Hong Yu. Watching Hong Yu disappear, Ying looked at Lin Rei and teased him with a smile. Yes, husband's gaze was too scary. If Hong Yu's cultivation wasn't a little bit stronger, he would have had a nervous breakdown. Lin Rei, listening to his two wives' comments, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he smiled bitterly. Oh my God, I didn't. Of course, he wouldn't say that out loud. Lin Rei didn't refute the two people's words. He just waited quietly for the 5 minutes that Hong Yu promised. 5 minutes. Jia, the door was pushed open. The gazes of Lin Rei and the other two were attracted to the door. They saw Hong Yu, who had left earlier, appear at the door. However, when he saw the doubt and uncertainty on Hong Yu's face, Lin Rei was stunned. How is it? Did you get the information? Lin Rei asked Hong Yu. With a clang, the door was closed. Hong Yu raised his head and looked at Lin Rei. He hesitated and said, I didn't find anything. But the IT department promised me that in half a month, we should be able to find the place with similar characteristics that you mentioned. You didn't find anything? Hearing this, Lin Rei frowned and looked at Hong Yu. That pair of cold eyes seemed to be able to see through Hong Yu. After a few minutes, Lin Rei withdrew his gaze. A touch of disappointment appeared on his face. It seems that you really didn't find anything. He didn't look at Hong Yu again. From his observation just now, Lin Rei was sure that Hong Yu wasn't lying. Because if a person was lying, then his expression couldn't be deceived. I'm really sorry, this is my Hong Lu's failure. In the future, I will definitely increase the surveillance. After saying that, Hong Yu quickly promised Lin Rei, don't worry, I said half a month, so it will be half a month. I have already asked my disciples to spread the news. As long as they find the place that you described, they will immediately report it. Half a month? Hearing Hong Yu's promise, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he smiled bitterly, but in the end, he nodded. Okay, half a month it is. With that, Lin Rei stood up and clasped his hands. If that's the case, then I will take my leave first. I will be on time tomorrow. Okay, I will be waiting for you tomorrow. He clasped his hands. After bidding farewell to Hong Yu, he brought the two girls to a restaurant not far from Lihong Tower and stayed there. The next day arrived very quickly. However, in the restaurant, Lin Rei was currently in his room. Ying and Bing were lying on the bed, while Lin Rei was seated on a chair with his palms facing the sky. He was silently circulating the chaotic heavenly scripture. Huff, after letting out a long breath, he stopped and opened his eyes. He looked outside and saw that the sky was already bright. A smile appeared on his face. It's been a day. I should still be able to break through and enter the saints' world on the day the mission ends. Otherwise, with that, Lin Rei suddenly shook his head. He didn't want to think about those bad things. He turned to look at the two girls who were still sleeping on the bed. He was stunned and smiled bitterly. You should at least cultivate. Although he said that, his expression was very gentle. He walked to the side of the bed and patted their shoulders gently. Bing, wake up quickly. The sun is shining on your butt. Hearing the call, the two girls slowly woke up. When they saw their husband by the bed, they smiled at each other and nodded. They got up and tidied up their messy clothes. The three of them washed up and walked out of the restaurant. They walked slowly towards Hong Lu. Although they woke up early, there was no emptiness here. Instead, it was no different from yesterday. Under the shouts of the surrounding stalls, Lin Rei brought the two girls to Hong Lu, fellow Daoist Lin. Hong Yu saw Lin Rei from afar and quickly went up to greet him. Tower Lord Hong sure woke up early. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei was stunned. He nodded and greeted him. You're too kind. Hong Yu smiled awkwardly and said, since you're here, let's go. Well, there aren't many people now. We can find a better place. Okay, let's go. Hong Yu nodded and led the six of them to the outside of the Wanbao Pavilion's auction house. At the entrance, Lin Rei was stunned when he saw the words, auction house. Array? Lin Rei's voice was not loud, but Hong Yu and the others were all in the God realm. They could clearly hear what Lin Rei said just now, but they were a little confused by the words, array. Yes. Without looking at Hong Yu, he stared at the plaque and said, there is an array on this plaque, and the level of the array is not low. It must be at least a Grandmaster Array Master. Hiss, as he spoke, Lin Li's gaze turned towards the signboard. Hong Yu's heart trembled. Zone-level formation masters were people that all the major powers would fight to recruit. Even in the deity realm, they were quite rare. Let's go. While Hong Yu was still in a daze, Lin Li opened his mouth and strode forward. Hong Yu did not move. He ordered the people behind him in a gloomy voice, "Go, check if there is a Grandmaster Array Master in the Wanbao Pavilion. You must find out." "Yes, I'll go check right away." After receiving the order, the people behind him bowed and disappeared in a flash. Our system doesn't even know there is such an existence in the Wanbao Pavilion. It seems that we really need to do something. Feeling the cold aura from Hong Yu, Xiao Nye was stunned and quickly said, yes, Tower Lord is right. Let's go." After saying that, Hong Yu led Xiao Nye in the direction Lin Li had left in. "I told you, I followed Hong Yu here. Moreover, that person didn't have a post. Why can he enter but I can't?" This voice? Hong Yu, who had just stepped through the door, heard the voice from afar and was stunned. A bad premonition surged in his heart. "Hurry!" Hong Yu quickened his pace and arrived at the entrance of the auction house. When he saw the people who were stopped at the entrance, he was stunned and sweated profusely. He quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. This is my post. Fellow Taoist Lin is right, he followed me here. Tower Lord Hong. So it's your friend." He raised his head to take a look at the invitation card in front of him. When he saw that the person who came was Hong Pavilion's pavilion master, Hong Yu, he immediately bowed respectfully. Since you know, then move aside. If you neglect my guests, don't blame me for not giving face to the Wanbao Pavilion's Tower Lord." As he spoke, he inadvertently released a wave of pressure to crush the people in front of him. Boom! Thump! 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 Suddenly, the people's expressions changed. Their bodies trembled and they took a few steps back. They only stopped when their bodies touched the door frame. Tower Lord Hong, this is the Wanbao Pavilion's territory. Aren't you being a little rude?" Just when Hong Yu was full of confidence and thought that it was over, one of the people leaning against the door frame took a step forward and bowed to Hong Yu. "What did you say?" Looking at that person, Hong Yu's killing intent emerged. "What is he doing? Slapping my face?" Chapter 927. As a powerhouse, his dignity could not be violated. At the same time, face was even more important. Now that he had been stopped by a mere gatekeeper of Myriad Treasure Pavilion and even spoken to in such a manner, just where was he supposed to put his face? For a time, killing intent surged into his heart and his killing intent soared to the heavens. He casually slapped out at the gatekeeper who spoke. Powerful spiritual energy condensed into a palm that instantly appeared in front of the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper wanted to dodge, but this palm came too suddenly and his cultivation was too low. In the face of such a powerful move, he simply couldn't avoid it. Am I going to die? Looking at the huge palm filled with death energy that was about to drown him, the gatekeeper closed his eyes and relaxed his body, waiting for death to come. He knew that if a miracle didn't occur, he would undoubtedly die. But, he didn't expect a miracle at all. Time slowly passed. The gatekeeper closed his eyes and waited for death to arrive. But after waiting for a long time, he still didn't feel the slightest bit of pain. He couldn't help but open his eyes. Pavilion. Pavilion Master? As he opened his eyes, an incomparably tall figure fell into his eyes. He was very familiar with this figure. Besides his own Pavilion Master, who else could it be? Myriad Treasure Pavilion Master, Lu Guiyun. His cultivation was at the peak of the late Divine Lord realm. There's nothing for you to do here. Go and treat your wounds. A voice sounded out. The gatekeeper's body fiercely trembled. He said, "Yes, this subordinate obeys." As he spoke, the people around him hurriedly stepped forward and helped him up, allowing him to walk through the door. As this scene fell into Hong Yu's eyes, the flames of anger in his heart instantly ignited. He never thought that Lu Guiyun wouldn't give him any face, all for the sake of a gatekeeper. Moreover, this gatekeeper had spoken rudely to him. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hong Yu coldly said, "Surname Lu, you want to start a fight with me over a subordinate?" As this scene fell into Lin Rei's eyes, the interest of watching a good play surged in his heart. He pulled the two women to the side and quietly watched. "Ho, Pavilion Master Hong, it's not that I don't want to give you face, but to kill someone in front of my myriad treasure pavilion, and to kill one of my people, how can you say that? Moreover, there are so many forces here today. Aren't you slapping my face?" Speaking up to this point, Lu Guiyun sneered inwardly, "Damn it, when I go back I must teach that boy a lesson. Today he helped me vent my anger." However, although he was happy and satisfied, he also had more worries, especially about Hong Yu's matter. If he didn't handle it well, it was very likely that both sides would suffer losses, and this was a scene he didn't want to see. Because he knew that once the two clans had a disagreement, it would be the best opportunity for the other forces in the Death City. They might even take over the two clans without hesitation. "House Master, why don't we put this matter on hold for now? After all, we're here to participate in the auction and fellow Daoist Lin is still waiting for us." Just when the situation had become extremely rigid, Xiao Nye, who was behind Hong Yu, hurriedly reminded him. Hong Yu was surprised by Xiao Nye's words, then he turned to look at Lin Rei and nodded, "You're right, today I'm mainly here to accompany fellow Daoist Lin." Then he looked up at Lu Guiyun, "Let's put this matter on hold for now, but don't think it's over." Hearing Hong Yu's words, Lu Guiyun was surprised. As an old rival, he knew Hong Yu very well. Normally, he would not let go of a small matter, but now he chose to let go of such a face-slapping matter. However, he didn't have time to think too much, after all, the other party had already said so. Lu Guiyun smiled and cupped his hands, "In that case, please, the auction is about to begin." Humph. He didn't even look at Lu Guiyun, his eyes fell on Lin Rei and the other two, and his tone became much gentler as he said, "Fellow Daoist Lin, let's go." "Okay." Lin Rei felt a little regretful about this ending, but when he thought about the auction, his regret disappeared without a trace. Jian Jian came to Hong Yu's side with his wife, then they slowly walked into the auction hall. However, Lu Guiyun, who was standing at the door, was confused as he watched Hong Yu and the others leave. "Old Chen, go and find out who the young man and the two women beside Hong Yu are." Pavilion Master, there's no need to investigate." What? Looking at Old Chen, Lu Guiyun was puzzled. The young man beside Hong Yu is the one who destroyed the Dragon Tiger Sect yesterday, but I didn't expect that he would become a guest of honor in Honglu. Now that I think about it, the person that Hong Yu personally welcomed yesterday should be this person. What, it's him. Hearing this, Lu Guiyun was shocked, and his heart was in turmoil. However, the disciple that you told to go and treat his injury stopped that young man. It is precisely because of that the matter with Hong Yu occurred. As he spoke, the person called Old Chen sighed and did not say anything else. At this moment, Lu Guiyun's face was getting uglier and uglier. He didn't expect things to turn out like this, and he didn't expect Hong Yu to go to such lengths for that young man. Thinking of this, Lu Guiyun couldn't help but hate the disciple who had been guarding the door. Now, because of a disciple, he had offended a master and Hong Lu. As a businessman, this was undoubtedly a loss. I don't want to see that disciple again. You guys can see for yourselves. Helpless, what else could they do? Lu Guiyun said to Old Chen behind him, then turned and stepped into the auction hall. The auction hall was divided into 3 floors. The first floor was the hall, the second floor was the private rooms, and also the VIP rooms. Of course, the second floor was where the rogue cultivators stayed. However, the third floor was also where the young masters and sects of Death City and the surrounding cities stayed. Of course, those who could stay on the third floor had at least 2 or 3 god emperors in their families, otherwise, let alone entering, they would be obliterated before they could even set foot on the stairs. At this moment, Hongyu wasn't unhappy because of the previous incident, perhaps because Lin Rei was by his side. Everyone came to the third floor under Hongyu's lead, opened the invitation, looked at the room numbers, and found the corresponding room. With a "Quang Dang," the door closed and everyone came to the room and sat down one by one. TSK, as expected of rich people, just the decoration of a room is so luxurious. Looking at the decoration of the room, Lin Rei couldn't help but praise. Lin Rei wasn't bragging, but the carpet that Lin Rei and the others were stepping on at this moment. This was the skin of a 9-tailed fox, and regardless of the price, although the 9-tailed fox wasn't a top-level monster beast, it could be said to be the most difficult to find in its clan. Yes, after all, they are rich, even our Honglu can't compare. Looking at Lin Rei, Hongyu smiled awkwardly. Pavilion Master Hong is too modest. Looking at Hongyu, Lin Rei smiled and said, your Honglu has so many god emperor level beast skins hanging on the first floor. Although the fur of this 9-tailed fox is precious, your fur is even more expensive. Is that so? Looking at the mysterious smile on Lin Rei's face, Hongyu couldn't see through him and didn't know what to say, so in the end, he chose to remain silent. *****. Just when the atmosphere was extremely awkward, someone knocked on the door. Looking at the door, Hongyu swore that no matter who it was at the door, he would be very grateful. Pavilion Master Hong, fellow Taoist Lin, this one is Lu Guiyun, sorry to disturb you. Lu Guiyun. Hearing this familiar voice, Hongyu was taken aback and revealed an awkward expression. At the same time, he made the promise he had secretly muttered in his heart before. Turning his head to look at Lin Rei, he knew that Lu Guichen had come here now either to laugh at him or to look for Lin Rei. In this regard, Hongyu was more inclined to the latter choice because Lin Rei's prestige was there for all to see. Let him in. Understanding Hongyu's meaning, Lin Rei nodded and agreed. Good. Turning his head, he looked at the door, come in. With a creak, the door opened and Lu Guiyun's figure appeared in front of Lin Rei and the others. At the same time, seeing that everyone in the room was staring at him, Lu Guiyun smiled awkwardly and said, fellow Taoist Lin, I am really sorry. I just asked about what happened and it was really their fault. They have already been punished, I hope you will be magnanimous and not take it to heart. Seeing Lu Guiyun's actions, everyone was stunned, especially Hongyu. He had never seen Lu Guiyun act like this before. It's fine. Seeing Lu Guiyun like this, Lin Rei waved his hand indifferently and said, you don't have to take it to heart. Yes. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hongyu's heart was bursting with joy. Fellow Taoist Lu, may I know why you have come here? Humph. Lu Guiyun really didn't want to say anything to Hongyu, but thinking of the impact he had on Lin Rei before, he smiled and said to Hongyu, it's nothing. The auction is about to begin, so I came here to give you a booklet of the auction items. See what you like and prepare in advance. With that, a booklet as thick as a brick appeared in Lu Guiyun's hand. Then, with a surge of his cultivation, a burst of spiritual qi rushed out and dragged the booklet in front of Lin Rei. Fellow Taoist Lin, this is your first time here. If you see anything you like, feel free to bid for it. I, Lu Guiyun, will treat it as a gift for our first meeting. Lu Guiyun, you. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hongyu gnashed his teeth. Although these words didn't mean much, in Hong Yu's ears, it was an obvious provocation. However, Lin Rei didn't care about this. After all, his status couldn't be bought by a small auction item. Thank you. He nodded to Lu Guiyun and then ignored him. Instead, he handed the booklet to the two women. Take a look and see if there is anything you like. If there is, bid for it. Okay, we know. The two women were very talented when it came to buying things. They picked up the booklet and looked at it. As for Lin Rei, they seemed to have forgotten about him. Looking at the two women's excited faces, Lin Rei smiled and no longer said anything. He closed his eyes and waited for the auction to begin. Lin Rei closed his eyes, so Lu Guiyun didn't say anything. His purpose of coming here had been achieved, so he didn't stay. He cupped his hands to Lin Rei and then left. The room quieted down. Except for the sound of the two women turning the pages, there was no other sound. In the system, in the space where the little dragon was, Lin Rei stood in front of the little dragon and looked at him quietly. His expression was no longer as cold as before. Instead, there was a touch of gentleness. Opening his eyes and looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon was surprised and asked, "What are you doing here? There will be an auction in a while. I heard that there are some rare things. I thought that there might be something you need, so I came to tell you. If there really is something in a while, let me know and I'll buy it." Oh. Hearing this, the little dragon was surprised. Then, he nodded and said, "Okay, I know. Isn't it just an auction?" While speaking, a trace of excitement flashed in his eyes. Although he could hide it from others, in front of Lin Rei, that kind of emotion couldn't be hidden. In this regard, Lin Rei didn't say anything. Lin Rei had already seen through Little Dragon's stubbornness. "Watch out for yourself." He reminded again, then left the system in a flash and returned to his original body. Below, on the first floor of the auction, more and more people were gathering. Time passed little by little and 4 hours had passed. At this moment, the doors of the auction were closed. At this moment, the atmosphere was extremely dry. Looking at the crowd below, Lin Rei knitted his brows. "Everyone, the auction is about to begin. Please be quiet for a while, okay?" At this moment, just as the crowd was making a racket, a beautiful and pleasant voice sounded in the entire auction hall. All of a sudden, it was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Knock knock. A series of footsteps sounded. Everyone's eyes fell on the auction stage. Everyone wanted to see who the speaker was. Of course, the most important thing was her face. Even Lin Rei couldn't help but look up. As the saying goes, a fair and graceful woman is a gentleman's dream. This was the nature of men. Humph. At the side, seeing her husband's shining eyes, her heart ached. She snorted coldly and turned her head away. Feeling his wife's strange behavior, Lin Rei smiled awkwardly and said, "Actually, it's nothing. It's just that her voice is a little special. Also, it's not as good as our Ying and Bing's voices." Then, he looked at Hong Yu and said, "Isn't that right, Tower Master Hong?" Hong Yu was speechless. Hong Yu was speechless at Lin Rei's behavior, but he smiled and nodded in agreement. Yes, fellow Taoist Lin is right. Watch." Seeing Hong Yu's reaction, Lin Rei nodded in satisfaction. Then, he turned to Ying and Bing and smiled cheekily, completely losing his previous cold arrogance. Chapter 928. The atmosphere became awkward. Seeing his wife turn her head away and ignore him, Lin Rei didn't know what to do. He tried to coax her, but it didn't work. "Alas, forget it, I'll apologize when I get back." Thinking of this, he turned around and looked at the auction stage on the first floor. At this time, after the sound of footsteps, a woman in a yellow dress took the initiative to step forward. She had delicate features, a small mouth, big eyes, and was very beautiful. No, she could be described as a fairy. Especially with her yellow dress, she was a god state expert. It could be said that this woman was a goddess. When the woman's real face appeared in front of everyone, the scene was not calm. People sitting on the first floor either began to tease her or began to whistle. The whole scene was chaotic. Oh, I didn't expect Lu Guiyun to be so willing to spend so much money. He even brought out his own daughter. It seems that there must be a lot of good things in this auction. At this time, in Lin Rei's private room on the third floor, Hongyu exclaimed. Oh. Hearing Hongyu say that the woman on the stage was Lu Guiyun's second daughter, Lin Rei was stunned for a moment. Of course, he didn't look for the woman, but wanted to know what on earth was in this auction that could make Lu Guiyun spend so much money. Although he didn't know the rules of the auction house, he knew that if it could make his daughter appear, then it must be something big. Seeing that Lin Li was puzzled, Hongyu paused for a moment before explaining, her name is Lu Yao, Lu Guiyun's second daughter. She is also the best auctioneer in the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion. Under normal circumstances, she won't appear and become an auctioneer. Only under special circumstances will she appear. As far as I can remember, Lu Yao has only appeared twice, and the things that were auctioned off at each auction were extremely shocking. Every single one of them was extremely rare. It could be said that they were existences that had already gone extinct. Is that so? Hearing Hongyu's explanation, Lin Rei understood, and at the same time, he was looking forward to today's auction again. Although he was looking forward to it, he didn't believe that Hongyu was talking about extinct existences. It was very simple, either they didn't know about them or they were extinct, and Lin Rei thought that this Wanbao Pavilion auction was just like that. Except for the extravagant decoration, he didn't feel anything special. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, a series of knocking sounds came from below. The sound was too loud, and it was mixed with a trace of spiritual aura that was almost undetectable. Heh, interesting. Looking down at Lu Yao, the corners of Lin Rei's lips curled up slightly, and an amused smile appeared on his face. Just earlier, Lin Rei had been woken up by the sound of Lu Yao's tapping. In regards to the spiritual power that came from the tapping, perhaps others could not sense it very clearly. It could even be said that they could not sense it, but he could sense it very clearly. The most important thing was not the spiritual energy. Instead, it was her ability to control the spiritual energy. Lin Rei could sense that Lu Yao's control of spiritual energy was already very good. Of course, it was still a bit lacking compared to his own. However, Lin Rei dared to guarantee that there were not many people in the entire immortal realm who could reach this level. However, the majority of those who could reach this level were the big shots of the immortal realm, the peak existences. However, it was clear that Lu Yao was not, and her cultivation was only at the divine ancestor level. It was because of this that Lin Rei had a bit of interest in Lu Yao. It was just a bit. Everyone, you have come to the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion's auction to participate in the auction. It can be said that the items being auctioned this time are all rare existences. There is not a single one that is not rare. Here, I hope that everyone will be able to bid for the items that they desire. After saying this, she saluted everyone and swept her gaze across the second and third floors. Little beauty, since you've said it like this, let's begin. Look, we've been here for so long. If you don't begin, I fear that everyone will lose their patience. That's right, little beauty. Let's quickly begin. Let us see just how rare the items you speak of are. This was something that the people on the first floor could not help but say. However, as long as one was in the know, they would be able to understand. Although these people wanted to see the items being auctioned, the majority of them wanted to tease Lu Yao, who was too strong. In response to this, Lu Yao's expression did not change because of this. Instead, her smile became even wider. Definitely. I'm just afraid that when the items are brought out, you won't have the money to buy them. Pfft. Aside from the people that had spoken earlier, when the remaining people on the first floor heard Lu Yao's words, the majority of them began to laugh. Well said. Speaking of, this 10,000 treasures pavilion's auction hall is truly something. Why is it that just anyone is allowed in? As I see it, this sort of poor person should just be thrown out or not allowed in. That's right. How could this sort of person have the nerve to speak? Really, I really feel embarrassed for you. The scene exploded. This scene was seen by everyone on the second and third floors. Seeing Lu Yao's actions, everyone was stunned, and their faces were filled with seriousness. This girl is not simple. To be able to use such a simple sentence to cause the people before her to become the target of public criticism. She really is quite skilled. That's right. Who knew that Lu Guiyun's second daughter would be so exceptional? It seems that not only will we need to be careful of Lu Guiyun, we will also need to pay close attention to his second daughter. In regards to Lu Yao's earlier actions, Hong Yu and Xiao Nye had become nervous. At this moment, their expressions became even more serious. What you said is correct. This girl is indeed not simple. Regardless of whether it is her intelligence or her cultivation, she is quite outstanding in all aspects. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Li spoke. But as soon as these words came out of his mouth, he felt a cold aura emanate from next to him. Lin Li trembled, and sweat began to form on his forehead. Of course, you must know that this sort of person's achievements are not small. That's why my advice is that if you can become friends, do your best to become friends. Even if you can't become friends, don't become enemies with them. Otherwise, the ones that will suffer will be you. Looking at Lin Rui, Hong Yu's expression became even more serious. He did not think that Lin Rui's evaluation of Lu Yao would be so certain. Is that so? After speaking, Xiao Nye was startled. He then recovered and said with a smile, "Many thanks to fellow Taoist Lin's priceless advice. I, Hong Lu, will remember your words." What? Hearing Xiao Nye say this, Hong Yu was startled. Turning his head, he was puzzled. He had not yet reacted. Floor Master, fellow Taoist Lin's meaning is very clear. He does not want us to become enemies with the 10,000 treasures pavilion, especially Lu Guiyun's second daughter Lu Yao. It can even be said that we should do our best to get close to her. If we cannot get close to her, we should not offend her. But as I see it, his second daughter seems to be about the same age as you. If possible, the two of you can also, stop right there. Looking at Xiao Nye, Hong Yu rolled his eyes. Hong Yu directly rejected his suggestion. Fine. Understanding Hong Yu's personality, he did not force it, do as you see fit. Following this, he did not say anything else. At this moment, the situation below was very heated. Everyone was speechless, especially the people on the second and third floors. With a bang sound, the door to a private room on the second floor was kicked open. A young man in red clothes walked out with his hands on the eaves. With a cold and handsome face and a poker face, it was as if someone had cheated him of $1 million. All of you shut up. Those who do not want to participate in the auction, scram. If there is anyone else who is not here for the auction item, don't blame this young master for not being deliberate. You bastard, stop. You've gone crazy. At this time, the people on the first floor heard the sudden warning and felt very unhappy. But in the instant that they saw the person on the second floor speaking, everyone shut up. However, there was one person who did not shut up and still wanted to curse. In any case, someone to the side saw that he was about to curse and covered his mouth and reminded him. Kid, you've gone crazy. Do you know who he is? Even if you want to die, I'll trouble you to go out and die. Don't drag us in, do you understand? Otherwise, you will die very miserably. It's not just us. There's also that young master upstairs. If you really start cursing at him today, I fear that you won't be able to walk out of the city's gates. Oh, that's not right. It's not that you won't be able to walk out of the city's gates. You won't be able to walk out of the city's gates. After a moment of silence, the person that had cursed seemed to have understood something and nodded. Who, seeing that the person in his embrace had agreed, he let him go and retreated to the side without saying another word. As for the person that had been let go, he went to a corner and did not say another word. It was a small interlude. In regards to this small interlude, everyone did not pay much attention to it. Very quickly, everyone forgot about it, and things began to move on the right track. Alright, let's not waste any more words. The auction will begin. Next, let's invite the first item of today's auction. This item is a good start. I hope that everyone will not be stingy with their bids. After saying this, without waiting for anyone to speak, the attendant carried the item to Lu Yao's side. In his hand was a piece of black cloth, making it impossible for anyone to see what it was. Not bad. I never thought that this thing would be able to block out divine sense. Not bad. It seems that this Wanbao pavilion has something. Looking at the black cloth on the stage, Lin Rei thought to himself. It turned out that just now, in the instant that the attendant went up on stage, out of curiosity, Lin Rei had checked him out. Who knew that just as his divine sense approached the black cloth, it would be blocked by a layer of energy facing the north. In regards to this, Lin Rei could break through, but if he did so, he might be discovered by the people of Wanbao Pavilion. Thus, Lin Rei could only choose to give up. Alright, next, let me introduce what this item is. Seeing everyone's confusion, Lu Yao smiled. She reached out and removed the black cloth, revealing a small black cauldron. In the instant that the small cauldron appeared, everyone's high spirits were immediately extinguished. Seeing everyone's gloomy expressions, Lu Yao smiled. She was not affected by this scene. This item is a pill cauldron. Its origins are unknown, and its grade is unknown. However, it can be confirmed that it was found in the grave of an expert. Let's not talk about its appearance for now. Even a high-grade divine artifact would not be able to cut through it, and its materials are unknown. That's why it's the first item. If you're an alchemist present, I trust that you'll definitely be able to see how extraordinary this item is. As she spoke, she looked toward the second and third floors. Let's not waste any more words. The starting price for the first item is 3 million mid-grade divine crystals. Each increment will not be lower than 500,000. The auction will now begin. Everyone, please place your bids. When Lu Yao said this, the scene that he wanted to see did not appear. On the contrary, it was especially cold. It was so cold that it made one tremble in fear. Lu Yao was stunned by this scene. Her smile froze for a moment before returning to normal. 3,500,000. Just when Lu Yao and everyone else present felt that no one would bid for the pill cauldron, an elderly voice rang out. 3,500,000. 3,500,000. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone who wants to go higher? Lu Yao's face was full of smiles when she heard this voice. Kid, do you want this item? On the third floor, Lin Rei was in his room. At this moment, Lin Rei was staring at the small black cauldron on the stage. However, at this moment, the little dragon's voice rang out in his mind. Although this item isn't anything good, if you want it, you can bid for it. Although it's not that great, it'll still be of some use to you. Lin Rei rolled his eyes. He was rather speechless at the little dragon's words. If it was useful, then it was useful. If it wasn't, then it was useless. What did it mean by a little use? However, at this moment, Lin Rei had already decided that he wanted this small black cauldron for no other reason than to see the effects of its materials. Of course, with his current alchemy skills, he did not need a pill cauldron to refine pills. 3,500,000 going once. 3,500,000 going twice. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? 3,500,000 going thrice, 4 million. With a wow sound, the entire place boiled over. Even Lu Yao was stunned. She did not think that there would still be people who wanted to bid. However, in the instant that she was stunned, Lu Yao recovered. A smile appeared on her face. Was this not the scene that she wanted to see? 4 million, 4 million. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? On the second floor, in one of the rooms, an old man and a young man sat together. However, the old man's face was not very good. It could be described as ferocious. Humph, you actually dare to bid against this old man. Fine, this old man wants to see how your wealth can compare to this old man's. The old man was none other than the person who had just bid 3,500,000. At this moment, he was going all out against Lin Rei. 5 million. He could no longer remain calm. When the number of 5 million appeared, the people on the first floor were not in the pill cauldron. To them, 5 million was an astronomical figure. Do you want to bid? In the room on the third floor, seeing that his bid had been surpassed, Lin Rei became interested. 6 million. 7 million. 8 million. Seeing the voice that came from the second floor, Lin Rei's heart was filled with interest. When it comes to wealth, this great one has never lost to anyone. Something that came out of who knows where actually wants to bid against this venerable one. Fuck, I'll kill you. Bang! A muffled sound rang out from the second floor. The old man who had been bidding against Linley had a sinister look on his face. Originally, he had only wanted to use his wealth to crush Linley, but now, the price had risen to 8 million. 8 million was not a small amount anywhere. Even he was no exception. But now, he was already riding a tiger and could not back down. Wanting to back down was impossible. His face would not allow it, and his dignity would not allow it. Chapter 929. 10 million, this time, no one in the hall could remain calm. 10 million for a small cauldron that they did not know what use it had. In the eyes of others, this was a losing deal. However, the old man who called the price on the second floor did not think so. In his opinion, the 10 million was not for the small cauldron, but for his face. This 10 million really earned him face and dignity. Heh, 10 million. This person must be crazy. For such a small broken cauldron, if I were this old man, would definitely strangle myself to death. A price of 10 million, it's really, shoo, don't say any more. Do you want to die? At this time, someone hurriedly reminded, most of the people on the second floor are powerful existences. If you say that, I'm afraid you'll provoke them. When the time comes, you won't even know how you died. As soon as these words were said, everyone present was stunned and then fell into silence. They understood the meaning behind this. In the private room of the old man on the second floor, when he heard the words of the people below, his face was gloomy and extremely ferocious. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. He raised his head and looked at the room where Lin Rei was on the third floor. A murderous aura flashed in his eyes as he coldly said to himself, "Humph, kid, this time you made me suffer a loss. How capable do I have to be?" As he spoke, he glanced at the side where no one came out and said, "Go, investigate. You must find out who is in there and tell me clearly which force it is. That person wants to go against me. Remember, if you can't find out, don't come back. Yes. A gloomy voice that sounded like a corpse from hell came from where the old man's eyes swept over. However, the moment he finished speaking, the space where the voice came from distorted. Then, a black shadow flashed and disappeared from the room. This scene fell into the eyes of the young man who had been silent all this time. He looked at the black shadow and then at the old man. He sighed and shook his head. Old who, why are you doing this to me? Isn't it just a small cauldron? Is there a need to be so serious? Humph, what do you know? He frowned and looked back at the stage. He coldly snorted and said, this matter is no longer a matter of money. Since someone has shouted, then I must fight to the end. After all, I am the vice-sect leader of the nameless sect. You, Sai, forget it. You can do whatever you want, as long as you don't go overboard. After all, our nameless sect is just a small sect that has just been formed. If you wantonly use your financial resources, I'm afraid it will do more harm than good to the stability of the sect. I won't say anything unnecessary. I just hope that you can think about it carefully before making a decision. After saying that, the young man closed his eyes again and calmly entered into cultivation. At this moment, the old man turned his head to look at the young man beside him. His face was filled with speechlessness. I don't know how you maintain your looks. You're clearly an old monster, but you only look like you're in your 20s. The old man thought as he looked at the young man. Then, he turned his head and looked at the auction stage again. This old man must obtain this item, regardless of the price. The more he thought about it, the more determined his gaze became. However, at this moment, the happiest was none other than the 10,000 bao pavilion. On the auction stage, Liu Yao was already grinning from ear to ear. It seems that this item has already reached his best price. Looking at the second and third floors, Liu Yao began to calculate. 10 million. In a room on the third floor, Lin Rei frowned slightly when he heard the new round of bids. What is this old man trying to do? Is there a need for him to go this far for a small cauldron? He could not figure it out. Looking at the small cauldron was not particularly good either. If not for the little dragon's sudden reminder, he probably would not even look at it. Buy it. Who knows, it might be useful. What do you think? The little dragon's voice sounded again. For a moment, Lin Rei rolled his eyes and nodded helplessly. All right, I'll listen to you. I'll listen to you. After saying that, he looked downstairs and said, 15 million mid-grade divine crystals. After saying that, in order to prevent anyone from increasing the price, Lin Rei did not wait for the auctioneer to speak and continued, no matter who makes the first bid, increase it by 3 million. There's no bottom line. Hiss. As soon as he said that, whether it was the first, second, or third floor, everyone on the first, second, or third floor gasped. They were extremely shocked. To be able to say something like that, it was not something that could be said as long as one had courage. Lin. Fellow Taoist Lin, is this worth it? That's only a small cauldron. Aren't you? That's right, fellow Taoist Lin. If you like the medicinal cauldron, I, Hong Lu, am willing to go for it for you. Hearing the words of his enemy, Lin Rei waved his hand and refused. You don't have to say anything about this. I've already decided that I must get this item. So, there's no point in saying anything more. For a moment, Hong Lu and Hong Lu did not say anything. Although they had not known each other for a long time, they had some understanding of Lin Rei's character. Since he had already made his decision, then they had to go all the way. On the auction stage, after recovering from Lin Rei's words, his smile became even wider. He hurriedly said, all right, 15 million. Is there anyone else? 15 million. Hearing this, the old man on the second floor called old who was very annoyed. However, the other party had already said that no matter how much he wanted to get the small cauldron, there was nothing he could do. As long as it was a smart person, they would understand that since the other party dared to say this, they definitely had enough wealth to back up their words. In regards to this, old who could only give up. Although face was important, but, without money, face was useless. No one spoke. Even old who was the only one to bid, chose to give up. 15 million going once. 15 million going twice. Is there anyone who wants to go higher? 15 million going thrice. With a bang, Lu Yao used a small wooden hammer and fiercely slammed it down on the table. A muffled sound echoed through the entire auction hall. Congratulations to the buyer of the 6th room on the 3rd floor. You've successfully gotten off to a good start. Saying this, the attendant to the side was very skilled. In the instant that Lu Yao finished speaking, he carried the small cauldron to the 3rd floor. At this moment, everyone's gazes fell on the room that had bought the small cauldron for a high price of 15 million. Everyone wanted to see the face of the person who had made such a high bid. Knock, knock. The attendant came to the 3rd floor and knocked on the door to Lin Rei's room. Xiao Nye, who had already been prepared, opened the door. After receiving the item, he closed the door again. The entire process was completed in a single breath, and it was completed in an instant. Seeing this scene, the expectant crowd felt a sense of loss. However, they did not dwell too much on this matter. Alright, the first item has been auctioned. Let's move on to the second item. At this moment, the second item had already been auctioned. At this moment, Lin Rei's gaze fell on the small cauldron. He wanted to see what exactly was so special about it. It was actually able to make the little dragon think about it. That, you guys watch yourselves. Don't worry about me. Just bid for whatever you want. Oh, got it. Hearing their husband's words, the two nodded. They knew that Lin Rei had something to do now. Thus, the two tactfully nodded and did not say anything else. The small cauldron was stored in the system by Lin Rei. With a thought, the system transformed into Lin Rei's figure with his mental power. The two of them appeared in front of the little dragon at the same time. At this moment, the little dragon, who was sitting cross-legged on the water, did not wait for Lin Rei to speak and said, "Don't disturb me. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Do you understand?" Lin Rei was speechless. There was nothing he could do about it. Moreover, before he came in, he had already expected the little dragon to have such a reaction. Tisk, without looking at the little dragon, he turned around and went to the shore. He placed the small cauldron floating in front of him on the ground. Looking at the small cauldron, Lin Rei became excited. Although he did not know what this thing was and what level it was, if the little dragon said it was not bad, then it must be good. Thinking about it, he separated a trace of his mental power from his clone and sent it into the small cauldron. Rumble, Kacha, suddenly, Lin Rei's mind was no longer as calm as still water. Instead, a strange space appeared. In this space, other than darkness, there was only darkness. And in this darkness, there was a sound like rolling thunder. Lightning flashed from time to time, and there was an inexplicable sense of fear in his heart towards the existence of lightning flashes in the air. What is that thing? What is this place? Didn't I enter the small cauldron? Why did I appear here? Looking at this unfamiliar environment, Lin Rei could not help but be vigilant. The feeling of fear from the lightning flashes made him very unhappy. This feeling had not appeared for a long time. Boy, you are very good. Your mind is very firm, but I wonder how your strength is. Suddenly, a voice like the sound of the great Tao came from all directions. Lin Rei could not tell where this voice came from, and Lin Rei became even more vigilant. He spread out his divine sense, wanting to investigate more clearly. But what terrified Linley was that his divine sense was completely restricted here. His previously enormous divine sense was now only capable of clearly seeing things within a radius of 5 meters. At this moment, Lin Rei began to panic. This was the strangest thing he had encountered since he stepped on the path of cultivation. Looking around, he hesitated for a moment and asked, Who are you? Where is this? Where am I? How do I leave this place? However, after a few minutes, Lin Rei only received silence in response. Regarding this, Lin Rei felt even more uncomfortable. Sigh. Sighing, Lin Rei could only walk forward helplessly. As a person of action, staying in the same place would only increase the burden in his heart. Since it was already like this, why not move forward? Perhaps an opportunity would appear. I advise you not to move forward, or you will die very, very miserably. Even I will not be able to save you. However, the voice came again, and Lin Rei's forward step could not help but stop in the air. He did not dare to take another step forward. Returning to his face that was suspended in the air, a hint of meaning appeared, and he roared in a low voice, Who are you? Either you come out openly, or don't speak. TSK, boy, you have quite a temper. At this moment, the voice did not choose to remain silent. However, even though Lin Rei tried his best to search for the direction of the voice, the final result made Lin Rei feel very helpless. Don't waste your energy. You won't be able to find me. Rather than that, it is better to preserve your strength and wait for the next test. What? Test? Hearing this, Lin Rei frowned. There was a lot of information in this sentence. At this moment, Lin Rei vaguely sensed something, but he was not completely sure. Yes, it is a test. Knowing what Lin Rei was thinking, the voice did not hide anything. However, before that, you have to let me see your strength. Although you are very strong, you are now only a wisp of spiritual power. If you can pass the next test with your spiritual power, then you will have the opportunity to be tested. Lin Rei wanted to refuse the voice, but he found that his spiritual power could not be withdrawn at all. This was the first time a mother-in-law was choosing a son-in-law. How is it? Are you ready? Damn, are you kidding? A wisp of spiritual power? What do you think a wisp of spiritual power can do? Lin Rei protested against the mysterious person. If his original body was here, let alone a test, he would not even care about the test. However, in this space, there was a wisp of spiritual power, an existence that could not be wrong. Of course, setting up a formation and carving runes was still possible, but Lin Rei did not believe that he could pass the mysterious person's test with just these two things. That is your business. I am only asking you, do you accept it or not? The mysterious person spoke. His tone was filled with an aura that could not be disobeyed. Can I refuse? Lin Rei said helplessly. No. The mysterious person answered very straightforwardly. Lin Rei did not know how to describe his current mood other than being speechless. F***ck, then what are you talking about? Saying that, Lin Rei raised his right hand, and sword fingers appeared. His eyes were fixed on the surroundings. His divine sense, which could only see 5 meters away, was released by Lin Rei. As the saying goes, having something is better than having nothing. Moreover, divine sense could see much more clearly with closed eyes. Get ready, it is coming. Hearing this, Lin Rei became even more nervous. His muscles tensed up, and his mind was tense. His eyes and divine sense were constantly scanning the surroundings, in case danger suddenly approached. Gotcha, just as Linley was nervously preparing for battle, a thunderous boom could be heard from above his head. F***ck, it can't be, right? Looking up, he saw a flash of white lightning appear in the originally pitch-black space. Hee, prepare to endure the feast of lightning. I am very much looking forward to your performance. I hope you do not disappoint me. With that, the mysterious person's voice disappeared again, and he fell into silence. At this moment, in the system, the little dragon sitting on the lake suddenly opened his eyes. A light flashed through his eyes, and he turned his head to look at Lin Rei on the shore. Seeing his closed eyes, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and a strange smile appeared on his face. Hee, I hope you can subdue the artifact spirit in the devouring cauldron. Although he is damaged now, his strength is still quite terrifying. I hope you can persevere and obtain the recognition of the artifact spirit. This will be a good help for you when you enter the Holy World or even the Hongmeng realm. Chapter 930. Kacha, in the mysterious space, Lin Rei frowned as he looked at the rolling thunderclouds above his head. He was very worried. It's coming. Feeling the change in the thunderclouds above his head, Lin Rei suddenly said to himself. A teardrop as thick as a bucket rushed down like a thunder dragon and rushed towards Lin Rei's spiritual incarnation. It carried a destructive aura and an aura that made people fear it. It was so fast that it instantly arrived above Lin Rei's head. F***ck, is it necessary to be so ruthless? It's so big right from the start. Looking at the teardrop above his head, Lin Rei's face darkened and he complained. He then put his hands together and made mysterious and strange seals. At first, the speed was very slow and could be seen with the naked eye. But slowly, as time passed, Lin Rei's seals became faster and faster, until the last seal phantom appeared. Seal the formation, descend the heavens, complete. Suddenly, the vague outline of a large formation appeared 2 meters away from Lin Lei's body, surrounding him in the center. Phew, I hope I can withstand this lightning tribulation. Feeling the danger above his head, he couldn't help but pray. Boom, the bucket-sized thunder dragon collided with the formation around Lin Rei, and a muffled sound rang out. Kacha, as if something had broken, the sound was not very loud, but Lin Rei heard it very clearly. It was as if it had appeared next to his ear. F***ck, no way, I just found out about the next round. Is it necessary to be so ruthless? Looking up, Lin Rei's face darkened when he saw the cracks on the formation around him. He didn't expect his formation to be so weak. But thinking about it, it made sense. After all, he could only use 1/10,000th of his strength. It was already very good that he could use it. Moreover, it was still holding on and hadn't been completely destroyed by the lightning tribulation. But seeing the cracks on the formation becoming more and more concentrated, he knew that this formation wouldn't last long. What should I do? What should I do? Should I just admit defeat like this? Lin Rei was extremely anxious as he watched the approaching threat. Thinking about the difficulties he had faced along the way, thinking about the path he had once taken, a sense of indignation welled up in his heart. No, I can't admit defeat. Isn't it just a small lightning tribulation? Isn't it just a test? Looking around, a chilling light was revealed. Just you wait. When I get out, I'll break your space and make you regret what you've done. As he thought about this, Lin Rei's hesitant heart calmed down, and a wisp of tenacity surged into appearance. The Tao of Heaven, the beginning of the great Tao. Things are forbidden, illusions are the foundation, and the sun and moon are the Tao. The Tao of talismans, supplemented by the 3,000 great Taos, derived from the various Taos, and the power of slaughter. Tendo is the same with the way of formations. A series of jerky incantations came out of Lin Rei's mouth, and then he raised both his hands and placed them on each side. Then, a series of formation symbols and runes appeared on both of his hands at the same time. At this moment, the moment the two Daos appeared, they were all centered around Lin Rei's chest, and their speed was not very fast. However, this scene, a strange thing happened. When the two Daos collided, they began to slowly fuse. Boom! Suddenly, a burst of energy of heaven and earth appeared in an instant. At the same time, at the moment the two Daos fused, the laws of heaven and earth seemed to be attracted by something and crazily rushed towards Lin Rei's body. The appearance of this scene caused the mysterious voice to exclaim in surprise, and then it fell silent again. Damn it, you forced me to do this. Feeling the runes in front of him getting stronger and stronger, the face that was full of worry a moment ago slowly relaxed at this moment. When Lin Rei was creating the runes, the lightning tribulation above his head did not stop because it was blocked by the formation just now. Instead, its power did not weaken, and instead, it became stronger and stronger. What made Lin Rei even more unbearable was that the thunder clouds in the sky were constantly injecting energy into the lightning above Lin Rei's head. Damn it, do you have any shame? Is this AF * King cheat? Looking at the lightning, Lin Rei's face darkened even more. This was something he had never encountered before. It could be said that this was the strangest thing he had ever encountered in his cultivation, and there was no other. Fine, you're really something. Since you don't want any shame, then why should I care? As he spoke, the seals on his hands began to change, and his speed increased to another level. Phew, awesome. At this moment, Lin Rei's originally illusory body miraculously materialized. Although the materialization speed was not very fast, because his body materialized, the formation that he had set up before also began to solidify. Hey, old man, you're still too inexperienced to fight with me. As he spoke, the seals on his hands began to change, and in an extremely distorted manner, it began to speed up. Suddenly, the sound of a sword rang out. At this moment, a sword hilt appeared above Lin Rei's head out of thin air. As time passed, the sword hilt changed from short to long. At first, it was just the sword hilt, but as time passed, the sword blade appeared. 10,000 Law Sword. This was the 10,000 Law Sword that Lin Rei had used before, but he had passed it all on to his son. Now that the 10,000 Law Sword had appeared, a touch of excitement appeared on his face. Although it's just a 10,000 Law Sword condensed from laws, all of its power has appeared. It's just that the 10,000 Law Sword special ability hasn't appeared. Saying that, Lin Rei couldn't help but feel a little regretful. However, in this situation, being able to condense a sword out of laws was already very good. Using the power of heaven and earth to inherit the laws of heaven and earth, and condensing the power of laws into a sword. Your comprehension of laws is very powerful. Shut up. Lin Rei really didn't want to hear the mysterious person speak right now. Seeing Lin Rei's growl, the mysterious person couldn't help but speak up. Looks like you hate me a lot. Bullshit. You showed up out of nowhere, told me to take the test, and didn't even give me a chance to choose. You're so rude to me, I'm not the only one. Anyone would be furious. Besides, I'm Linley, one of the most powerful figures in the future world. Is that so? The mysterious person paused for a moment before continuing. Since you say you're the peak of the future world, then, keep up the good work. After saying that, the voice disappeared again. Lin Rei wasn't surprised by this. Humph, bastard, just you wait. In the outside world, the auction was very lively. However, without Lin Rei's bid, the auction went very smoothly. It was already halfway through, and each item could be said to be the best of the best. During the auction, Shadow and Ice saw a few magical treasures that were accessories and couldn't help but bid for them. They weren't expensive either. Each one cost 8 to 9 million. Hongyu, who was standing at the side, was already numb to this. He had thought that he was rich and could be considered a rich man. However, after this incident, he realized that compared to Linley, he was a poor man. A complete and utter poor man. Ladies, the next item is an extraordinary existence. I've heard that this item was once used by an ancient expert. It's extremely powerful. However, due to some reason, it was damaged. Even so, its power is still incomparable to an ordinary divine artifact. May I know what the two ladies are? Hong Yu was stunned when he saw the item on the stage. The item was called the red brocade, and it looked like a blanket. Although it looked a bit funny, it was a magical treasure used by Shi Meng of the Shi clan. It was used to make people fall asleep. As long as the other party wasn't more than 3 levels higher than the user, they would fall into an eternal slumber and be unable to extricate themselves from their own dreams. Even if you were a strong-willed person, you wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from the red brocade. This item looks good and has a unique function. If we can get it and let our husband study it, he might be able to restore it. Sister Shadow is right. This item is such a divine item. I think we should bid for it. At this moment, the two of them discussed telepathically. However, as soon as they finished speaking, they looked at each other and nodded in agreement. They turned to Hong Yu and said, "I'll leave it to you. No matter what the price is, you must get it. As for the price, there's no limit as long as you can get it." What? Hong Yu, who was looking forward to it, was stunned. He was just saying it because he wasn't sure if the two of them would buy it. But now, what's wrong? Is it difficult? Shadow asked when she saw Hong Yu's shock. No, it's not difficult. Don't worry, I'll get it for you. But... Hong Yu hesitated for a moment and confirmed again, "Are you sure there's no limit to the price? No matter the price?" Shadow was speechless. "Yes, no matter the price, you must get it. Do you understand?" Understood. I'll bid now." Hong Yu's face reddened when he was questioned by the two of them. He stopped talking and looked down with a nervous expression. Lin Rei didn't know what the two of them had decided to do. Lin Rei was in an extremely bad environment. That bucket-sized bolt of lightning above his head had disappeared, but in its place was a bolt of lightning 30 times the size of the previous bolt of lightning. As for the formation which Linley had set up earlier, it was now on the verge of collapse. It was full of cracks and there wasn't a single place that was intact. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe that such a formation could still hold on in the face of such a powerful attack. The sound of a sword rang through the entire space. At this moment, the sword above Lin Rei's head had taken shape. The rune on Lin Rei's chest had also taken shape and was floating in front of Lin Rei. Finally. It's finally done. Looking at the sword above his head and the rune in front of him, a smile appeared on Lin Rei's face. Looking at the rune in front of him, Lin Rei opened his mouth and whispered, "Lightning strike." The lightning strike was condensed from the laws of heaven and earth. It was very powerful. Once the lightning strike exploded, there would be no survivors within 10,000 miles. Even if there was a supreme god or a Dao fruit within 10,000 miles, it would be useless. As long as the lightning strike exploded, both of them would be destroyed in an instant. However, because he was in a mental state, the lightning strike's power was greatly reduced. Looking up at the 10,000 laws sword condensed from the laws, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he reached out and grabbed it. 10,000 laws sword, I hope you won't disappoint me. The sword was held horizontally in front of his chest. With a flash of light, he raised his hand and caught the lightning strike. Gotcha, bang. Finally, the formation couldn't hold on and collapsed. Fortunately, I've successfully condensed it. Now, let's see if I'm still afraid of you. Saying that, he raised his hand and threw the lightning strike at the swarming lightning strike above his head. 10,000 swords art, 10,000 swords return to origin. In the instant that the thunder seal was thrown out, the long sword in his hand flashed out, and one sword shadow after another of the 10,000 spells sword appeared behind Linley. The power of heaven and earth didn't appear. It didn't come from the descending lightning. Instead, it came from Lin Rei's sword. At this moment, Lin Rei was using all of his strength. Go! With a furious shout, Lin Rei threw out a sword light. The moment the sword light flashed, the densely packed sword images followed the sword light and rushed toward the lightning above his head. The vast sword images, in addition to the lightning strike, were like a feast of battle. The people of the God realm had never seen such a scene before. Lightning strike, explode. Boom, loud sound was heard. It was as if there was a big earthquake. The moment the lightning seal exploded, the entire space began to tremble. Zzz. The clouds dispersed. The power of the lightning strike's explosion was too great. Adding on the collision with the lightning, circles of shockwaves spread out in all directions. Facing this, Lin Rei, who was made of mental energy, flew back uncontrollably. Peng peng, while flying back, his eyes kept looking forward. He saw that the moment the lightning strike exploded, the 10,000 laws sword with 10,000 sword images rushed in front of the lightning and collided with it. With a plop sound, he finally flew upside down and fell to the ground. He rolled 2 laps before finally coming to a stop. Because it was mental energy, Lin Rei didn't feel any pain. However, his body made of mental energy became dim and illusory after experiencing the shockwaves of the battle. Getting up, he raised his head and looked at the lightning. Finally, it's finally over. Put on. Lin Rei sat on the ground powerlessly. He took a long breath and his face was full of shock. Just now, when Linley had investigated, the lightning had disappeared, and the law sword of 10,000 spells had disappeared along with the lightning. Finally, it's finally over. Thinking about what just happened, Lin Rei couldn't help but want to go out and find the little dragon to find out what happened. However, before he could get up, that mysterious voice sounded again. This time, it was full of praise. You're not bad. Nonsense, do I need you to say that? Looking around, Lin Rei couldn't help but roll his eyes. I'm very satisfied with your performance just now. I didn't expect that a body condensed from mental energy would be able to unleash such a powerful attack. I have to say that you're one of the few experts I've seen. You're very good and very strong, so hearing the mysterious person's praise, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he came back to his senses and said, "Can you stop bragging? I just want to know who you are, where is this place, and what is the test you mentioned before?" Chapter 931. Whoosh. After Lin Rei finished speaking, the space was silent for a long time. The mysterious man did not speak, but just when Lin Rei thought that he was unwilling to speak, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Seeing the figure that suddenly appeared, Lin Rei immediately stood up from the ground. Looking at the figure, Lin Rei looked carefully. It was an old man with a head full of white hair and a beard. He looked very harmonious, but for some reason, behind this harmony, Lin Rei felt a sense of uneasiness. This kind of uneasiness was experienced by the little dragon and the system, but compared to the little dragon and the system, this kind of uneasiness was not as strong. Who are you? Finally, Lin Rei opened his mouth. The old man chuckled and looked up at Lin Rei. That pair of soul-sucking eyes met with Lin Rei's eyes. The moment Lin Rei's eyes met, Lin Rei felt that he had entered the endless void. Those eyes were like a black hole, as if they wanted to devour him and all living things. No, wake up for me. The moment this feeling arose, Lin Rei was stunned. Fear spread throughout his body, and he quickly bit the tip of his tongue to escape from those soul-sucking eyes. When he came back to his senses, his forehead was covered in cold sweat, and his face was pale. His clothes were soaked in cold sweat, and the tip of his tongue was tingling. TSK, not bad, your mind is firm, and you can pass the test with just a touch of spiritual power. Not bad. Looking at Lin Rei, the old man's eyes were filled with joy, as if Lin Rei was a naked woman who fascinated him. What are you looking at? Looking at the old man's excited face, Lin Rei's body trembled, and he couldn't help but step back with his hands around his chest. Damn, what are you thinking? This old man is worth it. Seeing Lin Rei's vigilant look, the old man couldn't help but smile bitterly. I just said that your mind is firm, can you think a little more? Seeing that the old man was about to teach him a lesson, Lin Rei wanted to refute, but he felt the uneasiness from the old man, and his voice stopped abruptly. Looking at Lin Rei, the old man rolled his eyes and sighed helplessly. All right, I won't chat with you anymore. Time is limited, let's hurry up and tell you what you have to do next. As he spoke, the old man's smile was replaced by a serious look on his face, as if what he was going to tell him was life and death. Lin Li couldn't help but become serious as well. He also wanted to know what he was going to say next. I am the weapon spirit of the devouring cauldron, the weapon spirit of the devouring cauldron. This is the space within the devouring cauldron. The reason why you are here is because your enormous mental strength has opened the seal. Therefore, you are here and have become a candidate for the successor. The devouring cauldron is devouring an artifact spirit? Candidate. Hearing the old man's words, Lin Rei roughly understood where he was. He also knew that he was in the small cauldron that was just auctioned off. However, he never expected that there would actually be an artifact spirit within such a damaged little cauldron. And the spirit was so terrifying, Lin Rei couldn't help but think of another question. If the spirit was so powerful, what level would the devouring cauldron be? However, Lin Rei didn't expect that the devouring cauldron was now broken and degraded, and the spirit inside it was also degraded. Yes, the devouring cauldron. Looking at Lin Rei, the devouring cauldron continued, I won't tell you the details, you just need to know that it's very powerful, even innate spiritual treasures can't compare to it. But. Seeing the artifact spirit stop, Lin Rei frowned, but what? But now that the devouring cauldron has been broken, it's been reduced to a supreme quality god artifact. If you really do inherit the devouring cauldron, there will be much waiting for you in the future. Suddenly, Lin Rei felt like he had fallen into a trap when he heard the artifact spirit's words, but this trap was just like the system back then. He had no choice but to step into it. Lin Rei became speechless when he thought about it, but when he thought about the uneasiness he felt from the artifact spirit, he immediately made a decision. Alright, let's wait and see. Didn't you say there was still a test? We'll talk about it after that. That's true. Anyway, there's no point in being anxious now. With your current level, you don't have the right to take the test of the devouring cauldron. Come find me when you break through to the saint realm and become a Dao fruit saint at the bottom of the saint's world. The artifact spirit said indifferently. However, when Lin Rei heard this, he felt like he had been electrocuted. His body trembled and he froze on the spot. You're saying that I don't have the strength to take the test now, and that I have to wait until I become a saint before I can take the test of the devouring cauldron? Lin Rei's words were filled with disbelief. He had some understanding of the artifact spirits in the past, but he had never thought that the artifact spirit would say such a thing. If he wanted to become a Dao fruit saint, he couldn't guarantee that he would be able to defeat only a Dao fruit saint who had reached perfection. However, at the very least, he would be able to cancel each other out and neither of them would be able to do anything to the other. Heh, I know you must be doubtful. Seeing Lin Rei's doubtful look, although he didn't say anything, he could feel it. However, that's the truth. Previously, the Devouring Cauldron's level was too high. Although its level has been reduced to a divine artifact now, its original test still exists. It's just that the test's level has been reduced slightly. I admit that you're powerful, but in the face of the Devouring Cauldron's test, unless you have the strength of a saint, after all, the minimum requirement for the Devouring Cauldron's test is to be a Dao Fruit Saint. Cultivators who haven't reached the Dao Fruit Saint realm can't take the test at all. After hearing the artifact spirit's words, Lin Rei was completely helpless. He was even more speechless towards the creator of the Devouring Cauldron. However, looking at the powerful treasure mountain in front of him, although it wasn't inferior to him now, he believed that as long as he became a saint, this thing would definitely be his. As he thought about it, a smile appeared on his face. I understand. I wonder if there's anything else you need? No. In that case, let me leave first. I'll look for you after I enter the Saint realm. Speaking of leaving, Lin Rei became anxious. He didn't know how much time had passed outside. Okay. After saying that, a rune shone around the artifact spirit and a door slowly rose not far from Lin Rei. In response, Lin Rei was excited and walked towards the exit. No, what should I do if you leave just like that? As though he had thought of something, the runes that had been flashing around his body suddenly vanished, and the door in front of him disappeared as well. You! What are you doing? Looking at the door disappear, Lin Rei was stunned. He turned his head and roared at the artifact spirit. Actually, I wanted to say that the Devouring Cauldron is severely damaged. If you come across any materials that can repair the Devouring Cauldron, please pass them to me. If the Devouring Cauldron is upgraded, it will be a great help to you. No. I see. Originally, Lin Rei was a little angry when the door suddenly disappeared. However, after hearing this, he fell silent for a moment. This matter was nothing to him. However, thinking about the resurrection of the little dragon, Lin Rei was worried. Originally, one person was enough for him. Now, there was another person who was useless. Forget it. Anyway, his current state is only temporary. When he recovers, he will definitely be a good artifact. Thinking of this, a smile appeared on his face. He looked up at the artifact spirit and nodded. Okay, I agree to this matter. As long as I come across the materials you need, I will definitely get them for you. Now, can you let me out? Yes, you can go out. After saying that, before Lin Rei could react, his vision turned black. When he saw light again, he could not help but sigh in his heart. I didn't expect that I would have a time like this. Thinking of the uneasiness he felt from the Devouring Cauldron, Lin Rei was very afraid. You're awake. Just as Linley was in a state of apprehension, a lazy voice rang out from not too far away. Little dragon? He could not be more familiar with this voice. Looking for the voice, he saw the little dragon sitting on the lake with a smile on his face. Looking at him, Lin Rei could not help but feel hatred. You bastard, you only know how to trick me. Time and time again, you do this every time. You bastard, you think this is fun. Lin Rei could not help but speak. Although it seemed like Lin Rei was really complaining about the little dragon, in fact, in his tone and expression, there was no resentment at all. Are you angry? The figure flashed in front of Lin Rei. Looking at him face to face, he smiled. Io, don't be like this. You saw it too. I am giving you an opportunity. With the power of this devouring cauldron and the artifact spirit inside, it will definitely be useful to you when you enter the holy world. Of course, before that, you have to shoulder the responsibility of repairing it. Otherwise, everything I said just now is just empty talk. You, facing the little dragon, Lin Rei could not get angry at him no matter what. Sigh. Forget it. Since this has happened, then let it be. But you have to remember, if something like this happens in the future, you have to tell me in advance. Otherwise, wouldn't it be embarrassing if it happens again like today? Yes, I understand. Don't worry, I will definitely tell you in advance next time, the little dragon agreed. Seeing the little dragon's appearance, Lin Rei could not help but feel a chill in his balls. He felt that something bad would be waiting for him in the future. As for the little dragon's words just now, Lin Rei only heard them in one ear and out the other. He did not have any extravagant hopes for the little dragon to change. He only hoped that it would not be too serious. The atmosphere became awkward as the two of them looked at each other. Before long, Lin Rei spoke up to break the awkward situation. Since you are fine, then I will go out first. I have been in here for so long, I don't know if the things you need have appeared. As for this devouring cauldron, since it is still in a sealed state, then let it continue to be sealed. When I have time, I will help it find the materials to repair it. That's it, I will go first. After saying that, he left the system in a flash. He was afraid that if he did not leave, the little dragon would blackmail him. Lin Rei deeply understood this point. You brat. Looking at the place where Lin Rei's figure disappeared, a bitter smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. You really don't know how to cherish it. Such a good thing is in your hands and you are still like this. If those old fellows saw you, I am afraid they would directly cross the vast universe to hunt you down, right? Saying that, a touch of sadness appeared. At this moment, Lin Rei, who left the system naturally, did not know that at this moment, his spiritual energy returned to his body. Phew, powerful strength can still be protected. When Xiaofan felt the power coming from his physical body, the uneasiness in his heart could not help but vanish. You are awake. The same words, but when spoken by different people, gave Lin Rei a different feeling. Hearing this voice, Lin Rei smiled and nodded. Yes, I am awake. I wonder if the two of you have bought anything you like. Hearing their husband's question, Ying and Bing shyly lowered their heads and answered softly, yes. That's good. At this moment, Lin Rei was finally relieved. Regarding this, he looked at Hong Yu and Xiao Nye. Seeing their shocked expressions, Lin Rei was puzzled. What's wrong with the two of you? Nothing. I just feel that you are the one who is strong and powerful. We can't compare to you. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu smiled bitterly. Originally, he thought that he was quite rich, but when he saw Lin Rei, Ying, and Bing spending money without any concept, he was too embarrassed to say that he was rich. One had to know that the price that Lin Rei and the other two said just now was so high that even if he sold the entire Honglu, he would not be able to compare to Lin Rei. You are too kind. Lin Rei did not care about his wealth. Although wealth was a strong backing for cultivation, Lin Rei did not care about this backing at all because he did not need it. Husband, look at that thing. I saw that the material is rare and the use is novel, so after discussing it with Sister Bing, we want to buy that thing for you so that you can study it later. Saying this, Ying led Lin Rei to look at the red silk brocade on the auction stage. Oh. Hearing this, Lin Rei was startled and looked up. Although that thing was not really expensive, since it was something that his wife wanted him to see, even if he did not understand it, he had to pretend that he did. This was a trick that he had learned for a long time, and it worked every time. However, the moment Lin Rei's eyes fell on the red silk brocade, all his focus fell on the red silk brocade. This thing. You. Seeing her husband like this, Ying was delighted. She thought that she would like it, but the moment she heard Lin Rei's next words, she was stunned. What is this thing? Why does it look so much like the red veil on the heads of ancient women when they get married on planet Aqua Blue? Saying this, Lin Rei's divine sense rushed out and covered the red veil instantly. Originally, he just wanted to pretend that he was afraid that his wife would be unhappy, but at this moment, his divine sense observed the red silk brocade, and he could not help but be fascinated. Chapter 932. Looking at the red silk brocade, Lin Rei felt as if he had seen the whole world. Not for anything else, but because some of it could be used to rebuild the body of the little dragon. Spirit-seeking silk. The spirit-seeking thread was a very rare existence. It was not a particularly large piece, and its level was not particularly high. However, it was listed as one of the important materials by Xiaolong for the recovery of the physical body. Of course, he was not very clear about the spirit-seeking silk. It could even be said that he had never heard of it. However, at that time, the little dragon had completely transformed the appearance and characteristics of the spirit-seeking silk and understood all of its characteristics. Lin Rei originally thought that the spirit-seeking silk would only have a chance to be used after entering the Holy Realm. Although the spirit-seeking silk was not of a high level, it was very picky. It would not grow unless it was in a place with a high level of spiritual qi. Ordinary people did not know about this at all. Only the real powerhouses, like the little dragon, would know about it. Even he was hearing about it for the first time. Spirit-seeking silk. It's the spirit-seeking silk. I didn't expect to find it here. His eyes were fixed on the red veil. Perhaps it was because he was excited that he said the name of the spirit-seeking silk. Spirit-seeking silk? What's that? However, after Lin Rei spoke, the group of people in the room was confused. They did not know about the spirit-seeking silk at all. It could be said that they had never heard of it. Get it. Lin Rei, you must get it. At this time, the little dragon was also excited. After all, it was about his body. How could he not be anxious? Since this thing can appear here, it means that it is fated to be with me. Although some of its spiritual qi has dissipated, it can still be used. After all, this kind of thing is not easy to find. Even if it is found, it will not be so easy to get. He glanced at the system and saw Xiaolong's excited expression. Lin Li's heart ached, but he immediately made up his mind. He had to get the spirit-seeking thread. If God or Buddha stood in his way, he would kill Buddha. With this sword in hand, he could conquer the world. Buy it, no matter the price. Even if it means killing, I will not hesitate. At this moment, Lin Rei did not hide anything. Since he had already decided, there was nothing to hide. This. All right. Feeling the pressure coming from Lin Rei's body, Hongyu's body suddenly trembled. His legs instantly wanted to bend and kneel down to worship Lin Rei. But fortunately, he didn't know how, but in the end, a cool feeling instantly flowed through his body, and Hongyu was able to walk out of that state. Phew, Ari let out a long sigh. Thinking back to the feeling just now, he had the urge to run away. However, when he thought of the cool feeling that had appeared at the end, Hongyu couldn't help but turn his head to look. What he saw was none other than Ying, who was sitting next to Lin Rei. When he turned his head, he found that Ying was looking at him with an apologetic look. Hongyu was stunned for a moment before he nodded. Fellow Taoist Lin, since you've said so, then there's nothing to worry about. Since you want it, then let's bid for it. I would like to see who is the one who doesn't care about his life and wants to go against Hong Lu in this Death City. His words were impassioned, but Linley knew that behind this impassioned speech, there was a scheme. As the saying goes, only those with profits can be called businessmen. If he didn't have any profits, Hong Yu wouldn't be saying these words. However, Lin Rui didn't make a clear response to this. Of course, he was determined to get the red silk brocade. It didn't matter who came. 50 million. Boom. This voice was like a bomb, causing the entire Wanbao pavilion to be in an uproar. 50 million to buy a tattered red veil that even had a strange smell. The little dragon couldn't imagine what this was for. Was he crazy? 50 million? At this moment, Lin Rui frowned when he heard this price from the third floor. This was because he realized that the room that said 50 million was none other than the room of the person who bid against him previously. Ah, I didn't expect us to be so fated, but... A cold aura emerged. Even if we're fated, this item has to be mine. It can only be mine. Others can forget about it, unless they want to die. Fellow Daoist Lin, 50 million, do you still want to raise the price? A weak voice came from the side. In my opinion, this item has already exceeded the best price. If you raise the price, I'm afraid, raise the price. Before Hong Yu could finish speaking, Lin Rui's decisive words entered his mind. All right. After receiving the order, Hong Yu nodded his head and walked to the side. He reached out his hand to support himself against the wall, as if he was afraid that he would faint. Looking down at the crowd that was waiting for a higher price to appear, Hong Yu gritted his teeth and stomped his foot. Then, he opened his mouth and understood Lin Rui's meaning. 60 million. In an instant, the crowd was ignited once again. 60 million, there was a difference of 10 million. If it was a normal cultivator or sect, it would be impossible. At this moment, whether it was the people on the first floor or the second floor, or even Lu Yao on the stage, they were all very curious about the room that was bidding on the third floor. They were curious about what kind of person had such great wealth. Such a person could not be found in the realm of the gods. This caused everyone to be even more shocked. Some people began to have delusional thoughts, while others began to think in other directions. Some people began to suspect that the person in the room on the third floor looked rich, but in reality, he wanted to dine and dash. Who exactly has such great wealth to be able to so easily take out 60 million to buy a tattered veil? That's right, who exactly is this person? Since he's so strong, he shouldn't be from a sect outside of the ninth state, right? But I heard that those sects aren't much, right? Ha! I really don't know how this person has such great wealth. If he could teach me, how great would that be? The scene became extremely chaotic. Lin Rui did not care about this, nor did he want to pay attention to it. All he wanted was the red veil. Bastard, it's you again. At this moment, Old Man Hu on the second floor had already exploded with anger. He had been angry because someone else had bought the pill cauldron at such a high price, and it was difficult for him to calm down. But now, he had once again taken a fancy to something that he wanted. Now, another person had appeared. What caused Old Man Hu's head to hurt was that the person who had bid for the pill cauldron at such a high price was the same person who had bid for the pill cauldron at such a high price. At this moment, he really couldn't take it anymore. The anger that had accumulated in his heart and this time, adding fuel to the fire, could only ignite the effect of the fire even faster. At this moment, it seemed that Old Man Hu had been ignited. 70 million. This time, Old Man Hu had already decided that no matter who it was, he would definitely buy this item today, regardless of the price he had to pay. With such a look and such determination, Old Man Hu seemed to have forgotten that he had also wanted to touch the devouring cauldron when it had appeared previously. Who exactly is this person? He actually dares to fight back. It seems that the previous blow and suppression were not enough. In that case, then, this time, I'll crush all of your confidence and turn it into dregs. Looking at old man whose room on the second floor, a strange smile appeared on his face. Continue to raise the price. No matter how much the other party offers, you must buy this item. Just add 10 million more than the other party's bid. He instructed Hongyu, who was beside him, and then his gaze fell on Ying. Go and see who's here. Since he wants to be a guest, let him in. It's quite tiring to hide at the door. The sudden words caused Hongyu and Xiaofan to be stunned. Subconsciously, the two of them looked at each other and saw the puzzled look in each other's eyes. Both of them were stunned. However, when Ying heard this, she didn't seem surprised. In fact, the moment that person came and hid at the door, she had already noticed his presence. However, at that time, Lin Rei was obsessed with the cauldron, so, she stood up and looked at Lin Rei with a smile. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. After doing it for so long, it's time to loosen up. Go. After saying that, Ying, who was still stretching her body, suddenly disappeared. She was still there a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye, she disappeared without a trace. Even the slightest trace of her aura in the room disappeared. It was as if she had never been there. With a gulp, Hongyu and Xiaofan, who were watching Ying disappear, stood dumbfounded on the spot. Their throats kept moving as they choked on their saliva. Outside the door, on one of the rafters, a man dressed entirely in black was lying on his stomach, staring at the door to Linley's room. He didn't dare to blink for even a moment, as though if he blinked, he would miss something. Tisk, it's already 60 or 70 million. I didn't expect this person to be so rich. If I can rob him, then, no, it's dangerous. At this moment, just as the man was about to rob Lin Rei, a cold intent came from behind him. As an assassin, he naturally understood this feeling. At the same time, he was also aware of it the moment he felt it and made preparations to escape. Your vigilance is not bad. It's just that your strength is a little lacking. She had purposely released that cold intent just now for no other reason than to have fun. Hearing the voice behind him, the man turned around and saw a woman looking at him with a smile. Of course, he didn't feel that the woman in front of him had any good intentions. It wasn't for anything else but his intuition. When he saw the woman's expression, what the man saw was not warmth. Instead, it was as if he was being stared at by a prehistoric beast. It made him tremble in fear. Come in and sit with me. The person who spoke was none other than Ying, who had disappeared from the room. Looking at the man, Ying said, "Don't force me to make a move. When I make a move, even I'm afraid of myself." Oh? Is that so? Saying this, she ignored him and walked towards the man with disdain in her eyes. Don't come over." Seeing the woman continuously walking towards him, the man panicked. Just now, he had been filled with coldness. Now, the moment the woman moved, he realized that he did not even have the thought of fighting back. Instead, he had the urge to run away. This was something that had never happened in his life as an assassin. Even his master had never said this. "Let's go." Saying this, Ying didn't want to waste any more time. She stretched out her hand and a large amount of spirit chi instantly appeared, wrapping around the man in black and controlling him. Sigh. Wouldn't it have been better if you had done this earlier? Why would I waste time with you? Thinking about this, she couldn't help but laugh and walk towards the room. However, at this moment, all of the experts in the auction house were alarmed. Although it was only for an instant, they felt it very clearly. Ying didn't know that she had only released her cultivation for an instant, but she didn't expect to be noticed. At this moment, all of the high-level practitioners in the auction house looked towards the room where Lin Rei was on the third floor. Some were confused, some were doubtful, and some were shocked. At this moment, everyone wanted to see the appearance of Lin Rei and the others even more. They even wanted to investigate the cultivation of these people and where the powerful aura just now came from. All of these questions became the sore point of everyone present. As for the auction house, they basically didn't pay much attention to it. It could be said that half of the auction was a success, but the other half was also a failure. Not for anything else, but because everyone's attention were all on Ying and Linley's room on the third floor. In Lin Rei's room, Ying caught the man in black and put him in front of Lin Rei. Then she sat back down next to Lin Rei. She was well-behaved and gentle. At this moment, the man in black didn't feel the coldness on her face at all. "Who are you? Who sent you?" "Of course, you don't have to tell me, but I'm a very patient person. If you don't tell me the answer I want to know in the time I want to know, then, don't blame me when the time comes." Before the man in black could refuse, Lin Rei said, "Who sent you? What's your name? Why are you here? What's your mission? And which force do you belong to?" Lin Rei asked one question after another. For a moment, the man in black was stunned. 3. 2. "Oh, it seems that you're very brave." Seeing that the man didn't speak, Lin Rei laughed instead of being angry. 1. "Good, you've successfully exceeded the time limit I set. Since that's the case, I'll give you some punishment." As he spoke, a silver needle appeared in his hand. With a casual flick, he threw it out like a dart. "Ah!" A scream came from the man's mouth. His face was pale, cold sweat flowed freely from his forehead, and the veins on his forehead bulged. His face was as ferocious as a ghost, which made people click their tongues. "Don't panic. This is just the beginning. And this is only the least painful of the 18 major acupoints." Looking at him, Lin Rei paused for a moment and continued, "I'll continue. Of course, you don't have to respond, but, you know." With that, Lin Rei spoke again, "Now tell me, who sent you? Which force do you belong to? I don't want to say more. You'd better not force me. I think I'm very kind. Don't force me to be a bad person." Chapter 933. Enduring the pain, he raised his head to look at Linley's kind, yet deathly smile. His entire body quivered as he suddenly came to his senses. He thought of the person behind him, and then thought of the pain he was currently enduring. If what he said was true, the pain would only get worse. In an instant, the oaths and promises in the man's heart were destroyed in the face of death and torture. He did as he said. He raised his head and the pleading look in his eyes was exposed in front of everyone. Seeing this, Linley knew that the information he wanted to know was about to come. Sure enough, as soon as this thought appeared, the man in black spoke. However, because of the pain, he couldn't help but stutter when he spoke. "I said, as long as you don't torture me, I'll tell you immediately." As he spoke, as if he was afraid that Lin Rei would return, he didn't wait for Lin Rei to respond and quickly said, "My name is 16. In our organization, we don't have our own names. We only have code names because it's easier to remember." "Oh?" Hearing this, Lin Rei frowned. He knew that in some assassin organizations, people usually wouldn't use their own names. Yes, and for people like us who were adopted since we were young, we have even less autonomy. We have to listen to all the arrangements, so, get to the point." Lin Rei frowned and said. Okay. Seeing Lin Rei's frown, 16 couldn't help but shudder. He quickly said, "The sect I'm in is called Nameless. It can be said that it's a sect that has just started. This time, I came with the sect leader and vice sect leader. At the same time, the person who sent me here is the vice sect leader called Hui. Although he is the vice sect leader, he has the same power as the sect leader. Because he is an alchemist, the sect leader is very helpless. After all, the sect has just started and is at the stage where alchemists are useful. What happened after that? Seeing that 16 was a lot, Lin Rei quickly asked. What he wanted to know was not this. Then, just now, because Hui wanted to get the pill cauldron that you bought at a high price, because of his face and your financial resources, I understand. Hearing this, how could Lin Rei not understand? So, it's another piece of trash who is tempted by wealth. However, Lin Rei couldn't understand. Even he didn't know the origin of that black cauldron. At first glance, it looked like a decent cauldron, but why? Seeing Lin Rei's confused look, the man in black understood and continued, you don't know, but our vice sect leader likes to fight for everything. There was once when he fought with the sect leader for his own face. If it weren't for the difference in strength between him and the sect leader, I'm afraid that the position of sect leader of the nameless sect would have been changed. At this moment, before Lin Rei could ask, Hongyu spoke, then what's the name of the sect leader of your nameless sect? What's his background? Why isn't the nameless sect famous in the realm of the gods? It can even be said that no one has heard of it before. In terms of information, he believed that Hong Lu was powerful. However, now that there was a sect that even he didn't know about, how could he let go of his face? Also, where is the sect leader of your sect? How strong is the sect? When did you enter the city? Xiaofan couldn't help but add. Yes. Hong Yu was stunned for a moment, then a smile appeared on his face. This? Seeing the two excited people, 16 couldn't help but look at Lin Rei with a troubled expression. He understood that the person in front of him had the most authority and the right to speak, so, speak. Whatever they want to know, you must tell them. Don't hide anything. Otherwise, you know what will happen. As he spoke, a silver needle appeared in his hand. Understood. He had a deep understanding of silver needles. 16 didn't dare to be negligent in the slightest. He turned around and told Hongyu and Xiaofan all their questions in detail. As for Lin Rei himself, he was looking at the red veil below him. He was very nervous. Below, everyone was looking at the position that Lin Rei mentioned. Lu Yao was no exception. As for the price and ownership of the red silk brocade, everyone already had an idea. Even Lu Yao was the same. 70 million. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher than 70 million? At this moment, Lu Yao came back to her senses and collected all her thoughts. Little girl, who do you think will continue to bid? The person in that room has already said such a thing. Who dares to increase the price? That's right. No matter who bids, he'll increase the price by 10 million. Isn't that putting pressure on everyone? Furthermore, who can compete with him in terms of wealth? Furthermore, we wouldn't foolishly offend such a powerful and mysterious existence for such a broken item, right? That's right. What this friend said is too correct. We also think so. That's why, little girl, you should quickly make the final decision. There's already no one who's bidding. At this moment, without waiting for Lu Yao to say anything, the people on the second and third floor, even the people on the first floor, all began to speak. Of course, it was inevitable that everyone would feel displeased and angry at Hong Yu's earlier words. After all, those who were able to come here were all people of status in the divine realm. Things like face were very important to everyone present. However, at the same time, everyone present knew that in front of absolute strength, face was like a shoe cushion. It wasn't worth anything. This was especially true for someone like Lin Rei. He had already bid 10 million. However, perhaps they did not know that not long ago, Lin Rei had spent all of his wealth in one go. Furthermore, the price of divine crystals was much higher than middle-grade divine crystals. There were high-grade divine crystals and even top-grade divine crystals. If they were to find out about this, they would probably faint from the shock of this matter. At this moment, on the stage, Lu Yao heard the news from the upper floor of the hall. She smiled and was stunned. She understood. She raised her head and looked around. Then, she nodded and agreed, all right. Since everyone has said it like this, I have nothing else to say. 70 million going once. Although everyone was no longer bidding, the process of the auction still had to be completed. After all, these were the rules. The rules could not be broken. As the saying goes, nothing can be accomplished without rules. Only with rules could one shake the world. To an outstanding auctioneer, this was very important. 10 million going twice. I've finally gotten it. Seeing the auctioneer making his decision, Lin Rei felt a weight lifted from his heart. 70 million going thrice. Sold. With a bang, the hammer struck the final blow. The auction item, the red silk brocade, was now Linley's personal possession. Congratulations to the friend on the third floor. This red silk brocade has become your personal item. After that, the attendant brought the red silk brocade to Lin Rei's private room. Humph, bastard, it's you again. Why is it always you? Do you really not get along with this old man? In the room on the second floor, Hu Yi was about to explode from anger when he saw the item he wanted being snatched away by that person. No, this time, I definitely can't let you go. I don't believe that you're really that powerful. As if he had made a decision, Hu Yi calmly sat down. His expression was gloomy, and he was the complete opposite of the violent him from before. AI. The young man looked at Hu Yi and couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. It seems that Hu Yi has made his decision this time. But, thinking about what Hu Yi had said, a mysterious smile appeared on the young man's face. It disappeared in a flash, and a calm expression appeared on his face again. That's good. This way, we can investigate whether that mysterious and powerful aura came from the person in that room. At this moment, the young man's thought appeared in everyone's mind. Lin Rei didn't know about it. The auction continued, and the later items became better and better. However, Linley didn't bid for any of the later items. It wasn't that he didn't want to bid, but rather that these items were of no use to him at all. In fact, they could even be described as troublesome. Lin Rei stored the red silk brocade in the system. It was already good enough to get the devouring cauldron and the red silk brocade at the Wanbao Pavilion's auction house. So, in the time that followed, Lin Rei immersed himself in cultivation and meditation. The things that he couldn't figure out in the past, he found some clues during this meditation. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, day turned to night, and then night turned to day again. This cycle continued for 4 days. This auction was undoubtedly very beautiful for the Wanbao Pavilion. At the same time, the profits from this auction were very optimistic. Some people got what they wanted in this auction, but some people didn't get what they wanted. Bang! The hammer made the final decision. The last item has been sold. This auction can be said to have ended very well. Once again, this little girl is very grateful for everyone's sincere invitation. Thank you very much. After saying this, S bowed slightly. Like this, if everyone still wants to buy some things, you can go next door to choose. For everyone who came to this auction, my Wanbao Pavilion will give everyone a 20% discount. When this promise was made, the people who didn't get anything in the auction had bitter expressions. In the next moment, smiles appeared on their faces. Their bodies subconsciously wanted to leave and go to the Wanbao Pavilion next door. In this regard, Lu Yao, who was on the stage, saw it clearly. Like this, the auction has come to a successful end. Everyone who wants to leave can leave. As for the guests who got something in the auction, we will visit them one by one. Of course, the main thing is to collect fees. After saying this, Lu Yao turned and left the auction stage. The moment Lu Yao left, the attendant to the side carried the auction item and followed her. With the departure of the two, the people who wanted to leave and go to the Wanbao Pavilion to buy things could no longer stay. It was as if they had broken through their limits and left the auction venue. As for the people on the second and third floor, not a single one moved. Of course, a part of it was because Lu Yao had said that no money was paid. As for the other part, their thoughts were very explicit. They wanted to see if the person who had bid a high price and the aura of the mysterious expert had come from that room. Husband, the auction is over. Wake up. At this moment, Lin Rei was in the room on the third floor. Since the first day, Lin Rei had been immersed in meditation and hadn't woken up. Lin Rei let out a soft groan. Not long after, his tightly shut brows moved a few times and a pair of black eyes appeared before everyone's eyes. Phew, he opened his eyes and looked at everyone. He exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and a smile appeared on his face. Looking at his wife, Lin Rei asked, "Is it over?" Looking at her husband, Ing said, "It's over. But I haven't paid yet." That's true." Lin Rei smiled awkwardly. If it weren't for Ying's reminder, he really would have forgotten that he hadn't paid yet. However, when he thought about paying, Lin Rei couldn't help but recall that he had already spent all of his divine crystals. All he had left were divine artifacts and useless pills. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Everyone looked over and a look of confusion appeared on their faces. At this moment, Hongyu thought of something and said, "It should be the cashier." It should be. Ing nodded. As she spoke, she stood up and walked to the door. She reached out and opened the door. A stunning face slowly emerged from the crack in the door and appeared before everyone's eyes. Isn't this the auctioneer from before, the second daughter of the Myriad Treasures Pavilion's pavilion master, Lu Yao? Looking at the figure that appeared, Lin Rei immediately recognized her. Why is she here? Not only was Lin Rei puzzled, even Hongyu was very puzzled. Logically speaking, there would always be someone sent to collect the money from the bidders. When had the owner come out? Under everyone's puzzled gazes, Lu Yao smiled and brushed back her hair. "Everyone, I'm truly sorry. Because this auction is too large, there's a shortage of people. I can only take care of the cultivation here." As she spoke, she bowed to Ing, who had opened the door and walked into the room. Since that's the case, then speak. How much is it altogether?" In regards to Lu Yao's beauty, Lin Rei was only stunned for a moment before he recovered. His gaze did not linger on her body or face for too long. After all, there were two extremely beautiful wives at his side. Although home flowers could not compare to wild flowers, Lin Rei did not believe this to be the case. He felt that no matter how good wild flowers were, they could not compare to home flowers. Okay. Seeing that Lin Rei's gaze did not linger on her, Lu Yao was stunned and a feeling of defeat welled up in her. Smiling awkwardly, she then calculated the total price of the things that Lin Rei and the others had won. After calculating, Lu Yao raised her head and said, "This time, you've spent a total of 260 million. Seeing that it's your first time here and that you've spent so much, I've taken the liberty of rounding it off. You can just directly pay 260 million. Chapter 934. 200 million, to some people, was an astronomical figure. Even Hong Lu was no exception. Thus, when he heard this number, Hong Yu seemed to see a large number flash before his eyes. Furthermore, this was a number that he did not dare to try. To the side, Lin Rei was very calm. He was not like Hong Yu, but in truth, he was unable to take out 290 million. Looking at Lu Yao, Lin Rei spoke, "I do not have 260 million, but I have some pills and a few high-grade divine artifacts. I wonder if they can offset each other." Offset each other? I can't be out of money, right? At this moment, whether it was Lu Yao or Hong Yu, they were both stunned. However, Lu Yao's expression was a bit richer. After all, this 200 million would go into their family's pockets. That's right. Saying this, without waiting for Lu Yao to speak, Lin Rei waved his hand and brought out all the things that he had prepared. With a flash of light, a pile of items appeared before everyone. Among them, there were roughly a dozen or so divine artifacts. As for medicinal pills, they were scattered all over the ground. There was no need to rush to find many of them. Seeing the things that had suddenly appeared on the ground, Lu Yao was stunned. Lowering her head, she did not have much hope at first, but when her gaze fell on the pile of things on the ground, her entire gaze was attracted. As an outstanding auctioneer, she at least had a good eye for good things. In the instant that her gaze fell on the things on the ground, she felt that these things were not ordinary. Squatting down, she picked up a sword and pulled it out of its sheath. Bzzz, the sound of the sword suddenly rang through the entire auction hall. Although every room had a soundproof formation, she never would have thought that Lin Rei's divine artifacts were all forged with his illusory spirit blood fire. Compared to normal divine artifacts, they could be described as trash. Good sword. She evaluated the sword in her hand with this word, but Lu Yao felt that it was a bit too belittling. She could feel that when she said this word, the sword in her hand clearly trembled a few times and began to struggle. He was aware of this phenomenon. At this moment, the sword in his hand was dissatisfied with her and her evaluation. At the same time that she understood the importance, Lu Yao put down the sword in her hand. She then picked up the other divine weapons, but after testing them one by one, she was stunned by the divine weapons on the ground. She discovered that these divine artifacts basically all had their own consciousness. After a period of sacrificial refining, it wouldn't take long for them to develop spiritual awareness and even artifact spirits. At this moment, she was no longer calm. Her previous expression of disdain had disappeared. Seeing his two wives say this, Lin Rei's face was filled with awkwardness. However, his thoughts were poles apart from Ying's. It was just that he wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. After all, they had wasted too much time here and it was meaningless. The three of them looked at Lu Yao, hoping that she would be able to make a decision. That. Feeling that the three of them were looking at her, Lu Yao was momentarily stunned. Then, she smiled bitterly, "The three of you really know how to joke." As she spoke, she pointed at the things on the ground and continued, "How can such good things not cancel each other out?" As she spoke, a look of bitterness appeared on her face. It was as she had just said. She wanted to buy them all, but 260 million. If she really used 260 million to buy the things before her, it would only be enough to buy 3 divine artifacts. As for pills, don't even think about it. Moreover, these 3 divine artifacts were just barely enough. If the buyer increased the price, it was possible that it would only be enough to buy 2. However, Lin Rei did not have the slightest idea about these things. Seeing Lu Yao nod, Lin Rei urged, "Since that's the case, let's hurry up. We are in a hurry." Right, we are in a hurry. Let's quickly resolve this matter so that we can leave. At this time, Hongyu interjected. Seeing Hongyu like this, Lu Yao hesitated for a moment before speaking. Her voice was filled with pleading, "Everyone, please wait a moment. I will go call my father. This matter is very serious, so, your father?" Seeing Lu Yao like this, Lu Guiyun's unscrupulous expression appeared in his mind. He was speechless. But in the end, he could only nod. "Fine, but you have to be quick. 5 minutes. I will only give you 5 minutes. If your father does not appear before me in 5 minutes, I will choose to leave. Of course, before I leave, I will leave behind a few things as compensation." Good. Please wait a moment. I will leave now." After saying this, Lu Yao left in a hurry. With Lu Yao's departure, the room quieted down. No one spoke. Lin Rei reclined in his chair with a look of enjoyment on his face. As for the other two, they sat to the side, thinking about their own matters. Neither paid attention to the other. It was as if the other did not exist. "Tower Master, if our Hong Tower can possess such a treasure, then..." Xiaofan could not help but send a voice transmission to Hongyu. Turning his head to look at Xiaofan, he rolled his eyes. "Nonsense, do you think I don't know? But so what? This thing is not ours. Even if we buy it, how much do you think it will cost? 50 million mid-grade divine crystals? 100 million? Looking at the divine artifacts on the ground, a sense of powerlessness welled up in his heart. He never thought that there would be a day when he would be able to see so many high-grade divine artifacts. He was certain that compared to other high-grade divine artifacts, these were simply top-grade existences. Then are we just going to watch the people of the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion obtain these divine artifacts? There's nothing we can do. Who told fellow Lin to have the things he needs in the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion? After saying this, Hongyu shrugged and fell silent. However, the hesitant look on his face was clearly seen by Linley. He understood the importance of these divine artifacts to these people. Lin Rei did not feel that there was anything wrong with this. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 5 minutes had passed, but Lu Guiyun still had not arrived. They're here. Just as he was thinking this, Lu Guiyun and Lu Yao's figures appeared in his divine sense. A smile appeared on his face. "Come in." At this moment, Lu Guiyun, who had just arrived at the door and had not even reached out to knock, heard a voice coming from inside the room. Lu Guiyun did not say anything about this. He immediately pushed the door open and entered the room. After entering the room, he looked at Lin Rei and the others. His gaze swept over them and finally fell on the divine artifacts and medicinal pills on the ground. Seeing these, Lu Guiyun was as shocked as Lu Yao was before. Fellow Lin, are you sure you want to use these things to exchange for the things you just bid for?" Lu Guiyun asked. "That's right. Okay, I agree." Before Lin Rei could finish speaking, Lu Guiyun's voice quickly followed. Since that's the case, then let's do it. Once you're done, I'll leave." Saying this, Lin Rei made an inviting gesture. "Oh, that's right. Fellow Hong, thank you for your broadband these past few days. You should also go and pick out a few divine artifacts and medicinal pills. In the future, there will be many uses for you. Please don't refuse." A cry of surprise rang out. Whether it was Hongyu, Xiaofan, Lu Guiyun, or the others, all of them were stunned, especially Hongyu, whose eyes were filled with disbelief. "Fellow Lin, are you sure you want to give me some divine artifacts and medicinal pills?" After coming back to his senses, although he knew he had heard clearly, he still could not help but ask. "That's right, but if you don't want them, I won't force you," Lin Rei said with a smile. I want them. After receiving confirmation, Hongyu smiled and joined the selection. On the side, Lu Guichen was not willing to fall behind. He picked left and right, basically taking everything that Hongyu fancied. In order not to arouse Lin Rei's disgust, Hongyu casually picked 3 divine artifacts and 2 bottles of medicinal pills before leaving. Many thanks for fellow Lin's generosity. If you need this Hongyu's help in the future, just let me know. Whether it's climbing a mountain of blades or diving into a sea of flames, as long as you ask, this Hongyu will definitely fulfill your request. Pavilion Master Hong must be joking. Climbing a mountain of blades or diving into a sea of flames is not an option, but I will still need Pavilion Master Hong to provide me with some information in the future. Lin Rei had a very good impression of Hongyu, so he would not give him divine artifacts and medicinal pills. Yes. As long as you want to know, this Hongyu will definitely find it for you. At this moment, Hongyu decided that he had to befriend Lin Rei, no matter how many enemies he would encounter. He vaguely felt that as long as he could befriend Lin Rei, his future would be smooth sailing. Good. Hearing Lin Rei and Hongyu's laughter, Lu Guiyun could not help but sigh and feel a sense of loss. At this moment, he dearly wished that the person chatting and laughing with Lin Rei was him and not Hongyu. Thinking of this, he walked over to the side and cupped his hands, saying, "Fellow cultivator Lin, please put away the remaining items. These items are enough to offset the value of your previous auction items." As he spoke, Lu Guiyun took out 2 divine artifacts. One of them was the sword that Lu Yao had picked up earlier, while the other was a pair of dual sabers. However, each saber was a high-grade divine artifact. Not bad. Coiling dragon sabers and phoenix feather sword. It seems that Pavilion Master Lu is quite perceptive. These 2 items are among the best of the best among these divine artifacts. They are at least 4 or 5 times as powerful as high-grade divine artifacts. Lin Rei was not boasting in the slightest. It was not just because of the illusory spirit blood fire. More importantly, these 2 divine artifacts had some formations and talismans that he had inscribed into them, so their power was unimaginable. However, this also required the person who wanted them to be powerful. Otherwise, they would not be able to subdue them. Fellow cultivator Lin is joking. Although he said this, Lu Guiyun was very happy. Fellow cultivator Lin, are you selling these divine artifacts and pills? If you are, then sorry, these things are all gifts, so I won't be buying them. As he spoke, he turned to Hongyu and said, "Let's go. It's time to go back." "Are we leaving already?" A weak voice came from the side. "HM?" In response to this voice, everyone looked over. It was none other than Lu Yao. "That's right. The matter here has already been resolved, and there is no reason for me to stay here, so." Shrugging, he walked past Lu Guiyun and the others and stepped out of the room. "They're out? They're out, they're finally out. I want to see who it is that dares to oppose this old man again and again." At this time, Hui, who had been waiting on the 2nd floor for a long time, moved out. "You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.